to see him this morning. Good to see you, Mr. Chairman.
You too, sir.
Where there was a historic outcome. I want to start with that real quick. I think there's so much news, so many things happening that oftentimes big, momentous moments get missed. What President Trump accomplished in NATO yesterday was game-changing and historic. A shift in burden sharing to European responsibility in NATO that most would have said was impossible at the beginning of his term. But he said NATO needs to pay up. They started in the first term, and here in his second term, we've accelerated that. 32 NATO countries committed to spending 5% of their GDP on defense, on actually investing in the NATO alliance. So I hope with all the ink spilled, all of your outlets find the time.
The Pentagon holds a press conference to where they are calling out the fake news for basically putting out that Trump and them was unsuccessful in their strike, you know, and basically saying these people are going off of information, you know, that was preliminary, meaning in the beginning stages. And also, you know, they go on to say, hey, man, look, these other countries are saying this. These other people are saying this. While y'all are saying this, it's really a disgrace to the country, they say, that the American media would even put out that we was unsuccessful. That's what they saying, man. This is at the Pentagon, guys. They are having a press conference about the fake news.
Time to properly recognize this historic change in continental security that other presidents tried to do, other presidents talked about. President Trump accomplished it. It's a huge deal. You see, we're here this morning because in hunting for scandals all the time, in trying to find wedges and spin stories, this press corps and the press corps miss historic moments. You miss historic moments like 5% at NATO, which when you hear, I was in the closed door briefing, I wish there could have been cameras in there. When you heard the prime ministers and presidents of other countries, to a man and to a woman, looking at President Trump and saying, this never could have happened. Never would have happened. It seemed impossible 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 8 years ago. But here we are because of your leadership. If you ask them the question, I bet they'd say the same thing. But searching for scandals, you miss historic moments, like recruiting at the Pentagon. Historic levels in the Army, the Air Force, and the Navy. Yeah, maybe there'll be a little mention here or there, but because it was under President Trump's leadership, because Americans are responding to him as commander-in-chief, the press corps doesn't want to write about it. Or bring us to the topic of the moment, the highly successful strikes in Iran. Let me read the bottom line here. President Trump directed the most complex and secretive military operation in history. And it was a resounding success, resulting in a ceasefire agreement and the end of the 12-day war. There's been a lot of discussion about what happened and what didn't happen. Step back for a second. Because of decisive military action, President Trump created the conditions to end the war, decimating, choose your word, obliterating, destroying Iran's nuclear capabilities. I want to read some of the assessments that have been provided, because whether it's fake news, CNN, MSNBC, or the New York Times, there's been
y'all hear them call them the fake news, man. They is upset. They do not like that. They do not like that U.S. media put out that we were unsuccessful in taking out Iran's nukes, guys. Do y'all believe them or the press? Let me know.
Coverage of a preliminary assessment. I've had a chance to read it. Every outlet has breathlessly reported on a preliminary assessment from DIA. I'm looking at it right now. Again, it was preliminary, a day and a half after the actual strike.
What's up, Casey?
When it admits itself in writing that it requires weeks to accumulate the necessary data to make such an assessment. It's preliminary. It points out that it's not been coordinated with the intelligence community at all. There's low confidence in this particular report. It says in the report there are gaps in the information. It says in the report multiple linchpin assumptions are what this assessment, a linchpin assumption, you know what that is? That means your entire premise is predicated on a linchpin. If you're wrong, everything else is wrong. And yet, and still, this report acknowledges it's likely severe damage. Again, this is preliminary, but leaked because someone had an agenda to try to muddy the waters and make it look like this historic strike wasn't successful. I'm going to get to the chairman in a moment because he's going to lay out the particulars for you based on his professional military experience. But here's what other folks are saying. The DIA that put that report out says that this is a preliminary low-confidence report and will continue to be refined as additional intelligence becomes available.
They refute those
How about
claims
the
in the
Israeli
name of
Atomic Energy
Jesus.
Commission?
Let's go.
The devastating U.S. strikes on Fordo destroyed the site's critical infrastructure and rendered the enrichment facility inoperable. Have any of these quotes made their way into the New York Times or the Washington Post?
Guess what,
MSNBC?
guys? The Iranian
CNN?
Supreme Leader
Any of these quotes? How about
also
this one? This
spoke
is a
out
new one
about
from the
this.
UN, the United Nations. No friend of the United States, or certainly Israel often. Here's the head of the UN Atomic Energy Agency this morning, Rafael Grossi. U.S. and Israeli strikes caused enormous damage to Iran's nuclear sites. Don't take my word for it. How about the IDF's chief of staff? I can say here that the assessment is that we significantly damaged the nuclear program, setting it back by years. I repeat, years. The Iranian foreign minister, the spokesman, our nuclear installations have been badly damaged, that's for sure. I'm sure that's an understatement. John Radcliffe.
So he's reading the reports from other media outlets that says that America basically did do what they said they did. Basically going at our news stations in the U.S. that declared that they didn't.
The director of the CIA putting out a statement just last night. CIA can confirm that a body of credible intelligence indicates Iran's nuclear program has been severely damaged by recent targeted strikes. This includes new intelligence from a historically reliable, very different than preliminary assessment with low confidence. He's saying historically reliable and accurate source and method that several key Iranian nuclear facilities were destroyed and would have to be rebuilt over the course of years. CIA continues to collect additional reliably sourced information to keep appropriate decision makers fully informed. How about DNI Tulsi Gabbard yesterday? She writes, and I quote, "New intelligence confirms what POTUS has stated numerous times. Iran's..."
So basically what's going on, they're using other media outlets, y'all, this is the Pentagon, they're using other media outlets to basically go against what what some of our American news stations put out about them being unsuccessful. They reading the headlines and titles from other places that's saying that we completely annihilated Iran's nukes. Who do you believe, the press, or do you believe them? Let's go.
Nuclear facilities have been destroyed. Institute for Science and International Security President David Albright, overall Israel and U.S. attacks have effectively destroyed Iran's centrifuge enrichment program. Time and time again, I can go down the list. Those that understand, those that see, those that do proper assessments recognize that what the United States military did was historic. And again, before I pass it to the chairman, because you, and I mean specifically you, the press, specifically you, the press corps,
Getting right on them on the press. They getting right on the news. They've been on them for 2 days. Let's go. They saying that somebody basically leaked this information and it shouldn't have been leaked, and they are investigating, and whoever did it is going to jail.
Because you cheer against Trump so hard, it's like in your DNA and in your blood to cheer against Trump, because you want him not to be successful so bad, you have to cheer against the efficacy of these strikes. You have to hope maybe they weren't effective. Maybe the way the Trump administration has represented them isn't true. So let's take half-truths, spun information, leaked information,
and then
leaked spin it in every way we can to try to cause doubt and manipulate the public mind over whether or not our brave pilots were successful. How many stories have been written about how hard it is to, I don't know, fly a plane for 36 hours? Has MSNBC done that story? as Fox.
Now they saying y'all didn't pay the what is it? The pilots of those planes enough respect, and y'all didn't recognize their training that they did exactly what they were supposed to do. They traveled a lot of miles, and basically, man, they are upset, man. That's all I can tell you.
Have we done the story how hard that is? Have we done it 2 or 3 times so that American people understand? How about how difficult it is to shoot a drone from an F-15 or 16 or F-22 or F-35? Or what it's like to man a Patriot battery? Or how hard it is to refuel midair? Giving the American people an understanding of how complex and sophisticated this mission really was. There are so many aspects of what our brave men and women did that, because of the hatred of this press corps, are undermined because your people are trying to leak and spin that it wasn't successful. It's irresponsible.
Leak and spin.
And folks in this room are privy to that information because of the proximity here in the Pentagon. It's an important responsibility. And time again, classified information is leaked or peddled for political purposes to try to make the president look bad.
Richard
and what's
said
really
mega
happening
spitting
is you're
facts.
undermining
Let's
the success of incredible B-2 pilots and incredible F-35 pilots and incredible refuelers and incredible air defenders who accomplished their mission, set back a nuclear program in ways that other presidents would have dreamed. How about we celebrate that? How about we talk about how special America is, that only we have these capabilities? I think it's too much to ask, unfortunately, for the fake news.
Fake
news. So we're used to that.
The fake
but
news.
But we also have an opportunity to stand at the podium and read the truth of what's really happening. And the reality is, you want to call it destroyed, you want to call it defeated, you want to call it obliterated, choose your word. This was an historically successful attack. We should celebrate it as Americans, and it gives us a chance to have peace, chance to have a deal, and an opportunity to prevent a nuclear Iran, which is something President Trump talked about for 20 years, and no other presidents had the courage to actually do. So with that, I want to hand it over to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. They've done technical analysis on this, not just on the strike, but also on our Patriot
Official
defenders
word
and
from the
LUD.
Pentagon.
And Mr. Chairman, I'll hand it over to you.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and good morning, and all of you. Thank you for being here. As a follow-up to my comments on Sunday's press conference, I wanted to give you a few updates this morning on something I'm honored to do as a chairman, and that's a chance to get to talk about some of our service members and the incredible things that they do on behalf of our nation. And I apologize ahead of time for the length and the detail. Today, I'm going to brief you on a couple things. First, I'm going to talk about our air defenders at Al Udeid in Qatar and their actions on Monday. Then I'm going to walk you through a little bit about the academics that went into the attack against Fordo, the massive ordnance penetrator weapon, and we're going to show a video that highlights the effects that weapon has. Of course, nobody was down inside the target, so we don't have video from the target. First, on Monday, as the president has stated, on Monday morning, we began to receive indications and warnings that Iran intended to attack U.S. bases in the region. That morning, building on the work that CENTCOM Commander Eric Kurilla had done, and on the orders of the president, at Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar and around the region, we assumed a minimum force posture. Most folks had moved off the base to extend the security perimeter out away from what we assessed might be a target zone, except for a very few Army soldiers at Al Udeid. At that point, only 2 Patriot batteries remained on base, roughly 44 American soldiers responsible for defending the entire base, to include CENTCOM's forward headquarters in the Middle East, an entire air base, and all the U.S. forces there. The oldest soldier was a 28-year-old captain. The youngest was a 21-year-old private who'd been in the military for less than 2 years.
Double tap that screen to
so
click
let's
those
put
3
ourselves
dots,
out there for a second. Imagine you're that young first lieutenant, you're 25 or 26 years old, and you've been assigned as the tactical director inside the command and control element. You, at that age, are the sole person responsible
Shout out to Cut Up Girl for being a member for 9 months. She say they mad as hell about the real news being leaked. Let's talk about it.
to defend this base. Listening next to you is your early warning operator whose job is to notify you of imminent attack. There's 5 people inside a vehicle and 5 people outside of a vehicle around these, a total of, as I said, 44. By the way, you've sat in the Middle East for years, deployed over and over again, extended multiple times, always being prepared, but unsure of when that particular day will come that you must execute your mission and not fail at doing it. In this case, these Patriot crews were deployed from Korea and Japan as part of our U.S. forces there to ensure that we had the most capable missiles in the CENTCOM area of responsibility. As the day continues, you start to hear more and more chatter in the information space about a pending attack. And as the sun starts to set in the west, you get orders from your higher headquarters to make sure that your missile batteries are pointed to the north. There are just a few other teammates. It's hot, you're getting nervous, and you expect an attack. Outside of those Patriot vehicles, your hot crew, which is one NCO and 4 additional soldiers, turns a key and relinquishes control of those missiles to that young lieutenant inside the vehicle, and you wait. You know that you're going to have approximately 2 minutes, 120 seconds to either succeed or fail. And then at approximately 12:30 p.m. on Monday, that's 7:30 p.m. in Qatar, as the sun sets in the west, Iran attacks. As the targets were detected, round after round of Patriot missiles are ejected from their canisters by an initial launch charge. Then the main solid rocket motor ignites. You can feel this in your body if you've ever been around a Patriot taking a shot. And round after round goes out and guides against those missiles coming inbound. We believe that this is the largest single Patriot engagement in U.S. military history. And we were joined in this engagement by the Qatari Patriot crews. I'm not going to tell you how many rounds were shot, but it was a bunch because of classified purposes. And we're aware that there's reports of something getting through. What we do know is there was a lot of metal flying around. Between attacking missiles being hit by Patriots, boosters from attacking missiles being hit by Patriots, the Patriots themselves flying around, and the debris from those Patriots hitting the ground, there was a lot of metal flying around. And yet our U.S. air defenders had only seconds to make complex decisions with strategic impact. These awesome humans, along with their Qatari brothers and sisters in arms, stood between a salvo of Iranian missiles and the safety of Al Udeid. They are the unsung heroes of the 21st century United States Army. And I know a lot of you have seen the videos online and the excitement as those Patriots departed their launchers and went up and guided. This really demonstrates the combat capability and capacity of our Army air defenders. Simply stated, they absolutely crushed it. If you'd flip this over, thanks. Let me next move to a walkthrough.
So contrary to what is being put out by the media in the U.S., other countries are reporting that we completely obliterated the nuclear system over there in Iran, guys. So you got the Pentagon, you got Trump and them. Bundy is going to give a press conference here in a little bit, about what they did. They talked to the NATO and said what they did. Who do you believe? Do you believe the media or do you believe the government? I'm just saying, they saying 2 different things. Let me know to where the government has went on the defensive and basically start calling the news fake. They say the fake news, man, and they said that we missed a historic moment by trying to report that we didn't do what we did instead of highlighting the things that we did do. Shout out to the gift, Beanie Baby. Let's go.
Of the GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator weapon and share a little bit about the planners who did this and their work on the weapon. First, let me set the stage for you. There's an organization in the U.S. called the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, DTRA. DTRA does a lot of things for our nation, but DTRA is the world's leading expert on deeply buried underground targets. In 2009, a Defense Threat Reduction Agency officer was brought into a vault at an undisclosed location and briefed on something going on in Iran. For security purposes, I'm not going to share his name. He was shown some photos and some highly classified intelligence of what looked like a major construction project in the mountains of Iran. He was tasked to study this facility, work with the intelligence community to understand it, and he was soon joined by an additional teammate. For more than 15 years, this officer and his teammate lived and breathed this single target, Fordo, a critical element of Iran's covert nuclear weapons program. He studied the geology. He watched the Iranians dig it out. He watched the construction, the weather, the discard material, the geology, the construction materials.
Continue to work
where
on
the
that like
materials
button,
came
guys.
from. He
Click
looked at the
those three
vent
dots,
shaft,
hit
the
that
exhaust
thumbs
shaft,
up.
the
It
electrical
helps out the
systems,
channel.
the environmental
Shout out to
control
everybody
systems,
that's viewing.
every nook, every crater, every piece of equipment going in and every piece of equipment going out. They literally dreamed about this target at night when they slept. They thought about it driving back and forth to work, and they knew from the very first days what this was for. You do not build a multi-layered underground bunker complex with centrifuges and other equipment in a mountain for any peaceful purpose. They weren't able to discuss this with their family, their wives, their kids, their friends, but they just kept grinding it out. And along the way, they realized we did not have a weapon that could adequately strike and kill this target. So they began a journey to work with industry and other tacticians to develop the GBU-57. They tested it over and over again, tried different options.
Get RJ up out of here. We're not copyrighting anybody. We copying you right up out of here for being such a hater. Coming here, we're reporting on the news, sir. We'll holler at you. You just got deported. Copyright that.
Tried more after that.
We most definitely exercised the Copyright Act of 1976. This is for educational purposes only, and most definitely falls under fair use. Now take that, like Diddy said.
Accomplished hundreds of test shots and dropped many full-scale weapons against extremely realistic targets for a single purpose: kill this target at the time and place of our nation's choosing. And then, on a day in June of 2025, more than 15 years after they started their life's work, the phone rang and the President of the United States ordered the B-2 force that you've supported to go strike and kill this target. Yesterday, I had the incredible honor and privilege of spending time with these two Defense Threat Reduction Agency officers who've given so much. One of them said, quote, "I can't even get my head around this. My heart is so filled with the pride of being a part of this team. I am so honored to be a part of this." To you both, thank you, and thank you to your families. Operation Midnight Hammer was the culmination of those 15 years of incredible work. The air crews, the tanker crews, the weapons crews that built the weapons, the load crews that loaded it. Before I run through this video today, I want to talk a little bit about weaponeering and what goes into an attack. Weaponeering is the science of evaluating a target. I mentioned all of those factors before that these two DTRA officers had thought about. Ultimately, weaponeering is determining the right weapon and fuse combination to achieve the desired effects and maximum destruction against a target. In the case of Fordo, the DTRA team understood with a high degree of confidence the elements of the target required to kill its functions, and the weapons were designed, planned, and delivered to ensure that they achieve the effects in the mission space. By the way, in the beginning of its development, we had so many PhDs working on the MOP program, doing modeling and simulation, that we were quietly and in a secret way the biggest users of supercomputer hours within the United States of America. So let me talk about the graphic a little bit. And the GBU-57, which all of you I know is a 30,000 pound weapon, dropped only by the B-2. It's comprised of steel, explosive, and a fuse, programmed bespokely each weapon to achieve a particular effect inside the target. Each weapon had a unique desired impact angle, arrival, final heading, and a fuse setting. The fuse is effectively what tells the bomb when to function. A longer delay in a fuse, the deeper the weapon will penetrate and drive into the target. So on Fordo, in June of 2008, you can see these 3 holes. Depicted here is the main exhaust shaft with 2 additional ventilation shafts on either side. The United States decided to strike these 2 ventilation shafts, as seen here on the main graphic, as the primary point of entry into the mission space.
So basically, he's walking us through exactly what we did,
Fordo,
guys.
the Iranians attempted to cover the shafts
Get the lights all the way up.
To try to prevent an attack. I won't share the specific dimensions of the concrete cap, but you should know that we know what the dimensions of those concrete caps were. The planners had to account for this. They accounted for everything. The cap was forcibly removed by the first weapon, and the main shaft was uncovered. Weapons 2, 3, 4, 5 were tasked to enter the main shaft, move down into the complex at greater than 1,000 feet per second, and explode in the mission space. Weapon number 6 was designed on each side, so there were 6 on each side. Weapons number 6 was designed as a flex weapon to allow us to cover if one of the preceding jets or one of the preceding weapons did not work. The video I'm about to show you is a culmination of over 15 years of development and testing. As I said, hundreds of test shots on various models. This is one weapon. So if you take a view of this as 5 additionals, you'll
They
get...
want us most definitely to know exactly what they done. They're going to show us a video about what they did, you know, and how they was able to accomplish what they accomplished in Iran. Do you believe the Pentagon and the president, or do you believe social media and the news? Let me know by voting on the poll. Most definitely double tap that screen. Get the likes up, guys. Get the likes up.
Get a sense of what this looks like. Hopefully you can see it and there's not too much reflection. Tom runs our videos out there. We'll run it at full speed so you can see it and then go back through it. Go ahead, Tom.
So this is the video of basically how all of this works, guys. They showing y'all exactly what they did.
Keep it going for a minute. You'll see inside the mission space.
So this is them showing the missile hitting the ground and basically going through the ground and exploding, you know,
Unlike
in
a
the
normal
secret
surface
facility.
bomb, you won't see an
This is
impact
what they
crater
think happened
because they're
because we
designed
don't have
to deeply
actual
bury
footage
and then
of what
function.
really
I
went
know there's
on.
been a lot of questions about that. All 6 weapons at each vent at Fordo went exactly where they were intended to go. A bomb has 3 effects that causes damage: blast, fragmentation, and overpressure. In this case, the primary kill mechanism in the mission space was a mix of overpressure and blast, ripping through the open tunnels and destroying critical hardware. The majority of the damage we assessed based on our extensive modeling was a blast layer combined with the impulse extending from the shock. Imagine what this looks like 6 times over. A point that I want to make here: the Joint Force does not do BDA. By design, we don't grade our own homework. The intelligence community does. But here's what we know following the attacks and the strikes on Fordo. First, that the weapons were built, tested, and loaded properly. Two, the weapons were released on speed and on parameters. Three, the weapons all guided to their intended targets and to their intended aim points. Four, the weapons functioned as designed, meaning they exploded. And we know this through other means, intelligence means that we have that were visibly, we were visibly able to see them. And we know that the trailing jets.
Thank you for that $5 super chat, La. Thank y'all. Hey, y'all, continue to work on that like button, guys. We got over 2,000. We got over 2,000 people. The likes are extremely low. Click those three dots. Hit that thumbs up. If you're not on a mobile device, all you have to do is double tap your screen, guys. Shout out to everybody that's viewing.
Saw the first weapons function, and the pilots stated, quote, "This was the brightest explosion that I've ever seen. It literally looked like daylight." Let me now turn to the bomber crews themselves, give you a few details about them. The crews that attacked Fordo were from the active duty Air Force and the Missouri
La
Air
say it's
National
3K
Guard.
in here. Let's
the
go.
crews ranked from captain to colonel, and most were graduates of the Air Force Weapons School headquartered at Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada. I will state for the record that there is no beach volleyball or football at the Air Force Weapons School. There were male and female aviators on this mission, and a crew member told me when I talked to them on video the other day that this felt like the Super Bowl, the thousands of scientists, airmen, and maintainers all coming together. One last story about people. When the crews went to work on Friday, they kissed their loved ones goodbye, not knowing when or if they'd be home. Late on Saturday night, their families became aware of what was happening. And on Sunday, when those jets returned from Whiteman, their families were there. Flag joined into a formation of 4 airplanes, followed by a formation of 3, and came up overhead Whiteman, proudly in the traffic pattern, pitching out to land right over the base and landing to the incredible cheers of their families who sacrifice and serve right alongside their family members. Like I said, there were a lot of flags and a lot of tears. One commander told me this is a moment.
I'm froze. I don't know what happened. Can y'all hear me out there, man? It must have froze. Can y'all hear me out there? Let me know if y'all can hear me. Can y'all hear me? Okay, all right, bet.
In the lives of our families that they will never forget. That, my friends, is what America's Joint Force does. We think, we develop, we train, we rehearse, we test, we evaluate every single day. And when the call comes to deliver, we do so. I could not be more proud standing up here today of our Joint Force. I'm filled with gratitude that I get to tell their story. And as we stand here right now, our forces remain on a high state of readiness in the region, prepared to defend themselves. And one last thing, our adversaries around the world should know that there are other DTRA team members out there studying targets for the same amount of time.
Yeah, something done happened, man. What is going on? Hold on, y'all. This crazy, y'all. Something done went on with the dang Wi-Fi. It's always something, guys. But I guess until it comes back like it's supposed to, man. Yeah, basically we getting a rundown of from the Pentagon on what exactly it is that went on over there in Iran. Basically, you know, they are upset with mainstream media in America about what exactly, you know, they reported on and how they got the information that they got. Basically saying, yeah, we hear you, okay, it's something going on with my Wi-Fi. I had to switch over. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Feel free to call in if you want to whatever goes on. goes on. I don't know what in the world just happened, guys. Just knocked my whole stream out, man. I don't that is crazy. Yeah, man. But basically, you know, they're giving us a view of what exactly they did, you know, from the missiles that they launched, the ground penetrating missiles that basically they dropped over there in Iran to eliminate its underground nuclear facilities. Now, there's been a bunch of controversy on whether or not we actually did what we did. And it's been a lot of cleanup going on by Trump and his team. You know, they are most definitely giving us more information than they have on anything else that they have done since the media came out and said that they didn't do exactly what they said they did. The supreme leader in Iran has came out and spoken and basically said they dealt a blow to America. Basically, they slapped us in the face. I got that too whenever whatever's going on kicks back in. Man, it's crazy, y'all. It's a lot of information out here. They're going to be speaking from the White House here in a little bit as well, you know, giving a press conference from there. This press conference right here is from the Pentagon, some of the top people, you know, basically over there saying that we messed up a historic moment for Donald Trump by reporting quote unquote fake news. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying though. But continue to work on that like button, double tap that screen, get the likes up. You know, any second it should be back up and going. I don't know exactly what it is going on right now. It just kind of happened. First time it just happened to me on a live stream, guys. Iran have 408 kilograms of uranium. Can't find any of them. Okay. Trump talks bigger than his mouth. All right. Got a lot of opinions in this chat. If we done what we said we done, America wouldn't explain nothing. Okay. Well, they most definitely doing a lot of explaining, bless one. Well, OPSEC was comprised bigly. Okay. OPSEC was compromised bigly, okay, bigly. Yep, his eyes are bigger than his mouth, Lord. He didn't tell Iran, they just took his threat seriously. Well, you know, they were saying that we didn't even know if they actually had nuclear, if they were actually building a nuclear bomb over there. You know, according to our investigators in the U.S., they wasn't certain. They saying that basically Trump took the word of Israel and basically went over there and made a decision in the dark by basically going over there and dropping those missiles, not knowing if they were actually building a bomb or not, guys. Real talk. Continue to get those likes up. We almost at 300. We need 7 more likes to hit 300. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. First time this doesn't happen to me, man. I don't know what happened. YouTube messing with my hair numbers. Nah, it ain't YouTube. My Wi-Fi messing with my numbers. Yeah, real talk though. But it's crazy, man. You know, I ain't tripping on none of that. I done had numbers, not had numbers. It is gonna be what it's gonna be. Shout out to the ones that stick and stay until it get right. And most definitely we'll see you later to the ones that choose to leave, you know, and don't wait till it get right. There's plenty of news out there everywhere. We ain't doing no tripping on none, man. Just know that. But continue to double tap that screen, get the likes up, you know, and support the channel by subscribing, man. Yeah, continue to vote on that poll in the chat. Who do you believe when it comes to all of this? Do you believe the mainstream media or do you believe the government and the people at the White House? Yeah, man, get right, White. You hear me? Positive vibes done came through and messed up the whole stream. Just went red for some reason. I don't know what's going on. Must be something with the Wi-Fi company because it ain't over here because the bill paid. And matter of fact, it ain't even the first yet. So I know it ain't because they done turned it off. It ain't off. It's just tripping. We go see if I reset my router, what's going to happen. Yeah, this is crazy, guys. Put the call-in number in the chat. Let's chit chat for a second and see if we can get it right, man. There was nothing obliterated about that nuclear capabilities. Now we know Bucker Busters were a bust. Yeah, listen, they said we was the only ones that could do what we did. Basically, you know what I'm saying? They saying, hey, America did this, and we were the only ones that could have did it. I saw the funniest meme today. It said every time Trump get 27-piece curl and cut, he get the start. Anthony, you gotta chill. I'm gonna give you 24 hours. Man, listen, Gigi, you don't have to put up with nothing from now on one of them. If they go to tripping, you know what I'm saying, put them rockets in the chat and let me know that you got them right up out of here, man. You know what I'm saying? That you got them right up out of here. Well informed say he believes it was a test run. Okay, that probably is true though. Ain't no telling, man. We don't play with trolls over here. You go to going left or talking crazy, we'll get you right up out of here the fastest. I'm talking about quick, fast, in a hurry, faster than you can blink, you'll be deported. You know what I'm saying? So most definitely be respectful to my moderators in the chat. Be mindful of me, you know, and don't be putting no disrespect or slander on none of our names, or you will get deported. And you can go watch whatever you want to watch on another channel. What's up, Miss Paulette? Did Mahel say Mimi? I said Mimi because that's what they typed in the chat. Soldier Part 1, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, 1980 Kane. Don't get too far up out of there. We'll pack you up too. Keiston say he just woke up. Yeah, man, it's a lot going on, man. Ain't no time for sleeping. You got to pay attention to everything going on. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. I just reset this dang router. I hope it works. Waiting on it to turn green. It's red right now. It needs to turn green. And then I know we back in power, man. That's crazy, man. This came through here and messed up the whole stream. Where he been talking ish about you having a big mouth. Well, check this. He won't have no mouth to talk with, no fingers to type with, because we'll get him gone. You hear me? We'll get him gone. I got something for his big mouth. He got some big fingers. You know what I'm saying? Some quick Twitter fingers. That's why he over here typing so much. I ain't worried about what he say no way. He can't stop nothing, just like the other person that came over here talking about some dang copyright, like fair use ain't in play, man. You better go sit down somewhere. Shout out to everybody in the building though, man. What Ballin at? Ballin ain't in here. I know he got the call-in number from yesterday, man. Let me go check. Hold on, y'all. I'm finna go check on this thingy and see if it turned on yet. Man, he'll go me for a new router. Maybe so, Soldier Part 1. Even though I just got this one not too long ago, it ain't never did this to me before. It just did it today. That's crazy. Just start tripping. I had to switch over to my mobile data. No, I hardly ever have to use it. Hold on, let me see where we at over here on this route. Man, I'm finna have to Google how do you what they call it? How do you troubleshoot a router, man? This is crazy. I might have to send RGT to go buy a brand new one, man. I don't know what's going on with this thing. That's crazy. Oh wow. I might have to end the stream and come back, man. I don't know. That's crazy. Wow. Just tripped out in the middle of the what's the name? Let me see something. Yeah, they messed up my whole little presentation, man. I even got the Supreme Leader. You know, basically he spoke out today on what happened, man. Maybe it'll kick in a second. Lord have mercy. Maybe I'm just being impatient. Maybe I ain't gave it long enough to basically click in. But it says U.S. strikes on Iran were Trump's showmanship, not much more. You know, says the spokesperson from Iran, guys. Now, this is crazy, y'all. We got 1,500 votes in the chat and only got 320. To show you how they do me. Stop buying from the pawn shop, man. Here, it's your fault. Boy, how can you buy? I didn't buy no router from the pawn shop. It came from the company that provides the Wi-Fi. Shut up, Soldier Part 1. Give Soldier Part 1 300 seconds. You know what I'm saying? To think about the stuff he over here putting in my chat. Don't ever come over here talking about what no hater done said. You stop by, you stop, let me stop before I gonna get me started. I'm gonna go back to where I came from. Twin, why you got sugar free on your pick? Man, that ain't sugar free, that's him. The only sugar he get for free is that booger sugar he sniff up his nose while he over there talking. Yeah, his sugar free, that booger sugar. Bro trolling you. Yeah, I put him right in time out. That's where trolling get him. He know it. You know he about to get ejected. Trolling get him right up out of here the fastest. Buck broken American. Okay, all right. Or he would say, Lord, yeah. You know, that ain't his sugar free. That sugar he sniff up his nose. Because he most definitely be on it. Iran stands with the obsessed and oppressed of the world. All right. Shout out to my boy Polo Capone for being a member for the last 6 months. Let's go, my guy. My bad, R. Hughes. I thought you were Ton GG. Y'all already know. What's up, Michelle? Shout out to you. Shout out to all the new people in the building, man. Shout out to the 500 people that's sticking and staying, you know, until this service get right. I don't know what's going on with it. But shout out to y'all, man. We gonna rock it out until it starts back. Let me go see if the green light done came back on yet. Messed up my whole show, man. It made me mad, man. God, dog, and it's still red, y'all. Must got some kind of allergy or something going on. That made me mad. Man. Tell y'all what, man. I done got upset. I'm finna end it. I'll be back, y'all. I'll be back in a second, man. Let me see what the heck going on with this thing. I need to call down to the what's the name and see if it's an outage or something, or if my router just went bad, or what the heck is going on. God, dog, or he just says, no! Should I just stay and rock out, man? Hey, man, they done messed up my whole show, man. I'm mad. I'm mad about that. I ain't gonna lie to you. Them aggravated me half to death, man. It's still spinning and the thingy is still red. I need to troubleshoot it or something, but I gotta Google it. You not play Iran's response. Yeah, I was finna play it, man. Something just went on with my router, man. I don't know what's going on with my router. I just reset it again because usually it'll be done kicked in by now, but it's taking way too long to kick in. I don't know if something got unhooked, unplugged, if it's an outage around here, what's going on. I just know this ain't never happened before. the supreme leader headed to the show. You are not allowed to play Iran. Man, I play whatever I want. How you gonna tell me I ain't allowed to play Iran response? If it's on the news, I'ma most definitely play it. What they gonna do? Come over my house? They gonna come over my crib or something? I wish Iran would. Yeah, they gonna be in the shock of their life. They ain't gonna have to worry about the U.S. military. They gonna have to worry about me. They come over here messing around, because I ain't taking no chances. Soon as you walk up, you know what I'm saying, and you the wrong spec, you know what I'm talking about, and you got on a hijab, it's over. You might well forget it. We ain't taking no chances, you hear me? We ain't taking no chances. Come over here in a hijab if you want to. That'll be your last one you put on. You'll be taking it with you. Yeah, real talk. I wish you would. Yeah, I wish you would, like a tree in this thing, for real. Yeah, got me messed up. Soldiers say had to troll back. Google anatomy found in Iran. Learn to think. Okay, Brandon. Thank you for your information. You Googled it. Tell us what you found. Mr. Smart Guy telling us what to do. Yeah, they're going to send a drone. I wish they would. You know what I'm saying? We got drone technology over here. I'ma see them when they come. I wish they would fly a drone in the U.S. from Iran. Yeah, see how Trump and them react soon as it hit our airspaces. Yeah, soon as we detect it. Yeah, so I know that's false about them sending the drone. They ain't gonna send nothing over here to the U.S. It's already high tension anyway. Fly a drone over here. I bet you Trump and them shoot it down. I ain't gonna gotta worry about it. Trump and them gonna take it right out the sky. As soon as they send it, Trump and them gonna take it right out the sky. You can believe that. Yeah, my hair got me rolling snack. I'm just saying, talking about they gonna send a drone over here. I wish they would send a drone to the U.S., especially right now. If they don't shoot it down, my name ain't Mahel. I won't have to worry about the drone, because Trump and them gonna take care of it. Collins say they in the air. Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And we, man, come on. Now think about it, y'all. Think about right now, with as high as tensions are, the whole U.S. is on high alert. All major cities worried about, attack from Iran. And you think that they gonna be dumb enough to fly something over here right now? Shh. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Trump and them ain't gonna have none of that. Trump and them gonna take them right out the sky. We gonna be talking about it on the news. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Iranian drone shot out of U.S. airspace. Gonna get it right up out of here. Yeah, they gotta call and make it. They gotta call and be all right first. They gotta talk to Trump and them and make sure they can fly it over here. And I'm pretty sure Trump and them gonna say no, because they on high alert right now. We just bombarded their nuclear defense system with a whole bunch of missiles. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what they on. Brandon say this all primitive. What's primitive about it? There are no sleeper cells. Man, they just arrested 19 Iranian people the other day. They called them Iranian nationalists. It was 19 of them over here. They just arrested them yesterday. Boy, you need to do your research. Talking about, yeah, man, they is most definitely over here. They want Trump bad. ICE picked up 19 19 Iranian, what they call them, I just said the word, I done forgot that fast, but nationalists. Yeah, they picked up 19 of them. It was on the news yesterday. Did you miss it? Because I most definitely seen it. Brandon, you learn to read. I got some Hooked on Phonics books for you. Mr. I'm so intelligent, but I can't type in the chat what I went and learned. You know what I'm saying? Quit listening to Google and what do they call it? Quit looking at the dark side of YouTube and thinking they telling you all the truth. Because I'm pretty sure that's where you do your research at, on the dark web. Talking about, yeah, this the real information right. The real information right here. They be feeding you mumbo jumbo just like the rest of the media, but your wires so crossing your head, you believe anything they say, just as long as it aligns with what you think in your twisted mind, sir. We'll holler at you. Yeah, real talk. Where do you get your information? Why do you think your information is real and not others? I don't know why they. I hope you ain't talking to me. I hope you talking to that dude. YouTube on soldiers breaking the silence. The supreme leader of Iran. Yeah, that's who that is. Typical Americans, man, they be over here tripping, man. They be swearing to God they got so much more information than the next person. And man, I went and researched this and researched that, and yeah, man. But somebody had to write write it out for you to go research, you know. And then it becomes to your personal preference and really what you choose to believe. So you don't know if the information you getting is really legit. You know, you just going out what you think in your head. So if it aligns with what you think, then you think that is credible, you know, because somebody had to write it down. That's what's wrong with people. That's what they think. Everybody got to think like they think, man. Everybody ain't going to agree. That's why the good Lord gave you your own mind. Everybody's thinking is not the same. I don't have to believe what you believe. I don't know if you right. You don't know if I'm right. We don't know if each other right. That's why I don't really knock nobody for their opinions. But when they come through here trying to knock me on mine, I most definitely got to get on your rooftop. Why did they arrest those Iranians? How do they know? They know they're bad. How long have they been in America? And are they ones that they picked up? I'm guessing is not, but they had ties to some of those groups over there in Iran. Like one of them was like he was like part of it, you know, at one point, and then he came to the U.S. It was 19. You don't believe me? You know, I know y'all Wi-Fi routers ain't tripping. Go Google it real quick or go look it up on the news. They most definitely put it out there that it was 19 people that they picked up yesterday. Bet you don't have a father either. Boy, my daddy was in my life my whole life. What is you talking about? My father was a veteran, dog. I most definitely had a father. Hell, you mean RPG? You ain't no father. What you over here talking about people being fathers, you probably ain't even got no kids. What is you talking about, dog? Yeah, don't stereotype people. I most definitely grew up in a two-parent household. My mama and daddy both was present in my life. Boy, don't play with me. Yeah, everything you see don't be the truth. Stop stereotyping people. Yeah, my father was most definitely in the home, and my mother, and they took good care of me, sir. Hell, you mean? Come up in here talking about, bet you didn't have a father either. What? That's not what the cave dweller said, fool. You the only cave dweller in here. You only cave dweller in here. Bad Santa, you're not hidden, just timed out. Man, we ain't worried about them people, man. They ain't got nothing better to do with their time. They very stereotypical, and we are not racist over here, man. I don't care what your nationality is, what your skin color is. As long as you good people, you good with me. I ain't doing no tripping. America should mind their own business and not take credit for something they didn't do. I hear you shaking my head trolling because he bored. Man, he just over here he was typing to see himself type. He was ready to take a trip on his favorite rocket ship. Okay, thanks for just timing me out and not hiding. Bad Santa. Boy, you treading on a thin line if they had to time you out. Boy, you know what I'm saying? Next step is getting up out of here. Yeah, just know that. We got more rockets than Elon Musk and deport people faster than Trump. Don't you ever forget it. I'm Trump on this page. Yeah, I'm going to make YouTube channels great again. You don't have to put up with no trolls. You don't have to put up with no people talking smack to you. You don't have to put up with none of that. When they start tripping, just deport them. The same way they came is more people to come. You know, it's a big internet. It's a lot of people out here, you know what I'm saying? They won't miss none of you trolls that choose to not stick to the topic and want to talk trash to me. Let's talk about it. Yeah, absolutely. I'm Trump over here. Yeah, just know that. Let me check this router one more time. We may be in business, guys. Let me see. It went from red to white. Maybe that means we on. Hold up. Remember what? 2839. All right, 2839. 28.
Press corps
Oh,
doesn't
yeah,
wanna
we
write about
back on, guys. We in the game. 2839. We back in the game, guys. Shout out to everybody that rocked out
there studying targets for the same amount of time and will continue to do so. Thank you very much. I apologize for the length. I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would just thank you, by the way, for that extensive work, the lay down. I mean, even, do you have that laser pointer? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Squaring me away as always. I mean, even in just public reporting, you see the post-strike
back on,
shaft
guys.
of the 3 holes. The vast majority, and fairly so, the vast majority of speculation has been, those are the 3 strike points. When in actuality, what you realize is these are the vents, these are the caps. The first munition took the cap off, and the other 5 went down the center hole, which, if you're planning the target, you would want it to be the direct one going to the bottom. These are the types of things go into the planning for a strike that the Pentagon would not expect the press corps, the American
So what
people
we're going to do is I'm going to have to stop this. We're going to go to some live information that's going on right now, basically with them giving this press conference real quick. Hold up. Yeah, we live at 5. All right, I'll keep an eye on this, but we'll go back to where we was at until she takes the stage.
Understand, so laying this information out is helpful, but it's also why we asked for a beat, for a moment.
Oh, she done took the stage. That fast, hold up.
President Trump as commander
This is live, guys.
The world is a much safer place. After decades in which past presidents coddled and enabled the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism, President Trump finally ended the immediate threat of a nuclear Iranian.
All right, this is live. This is, what's her name? Carolyn Levette, giving a live press conference on the situation as far as the news and what we did in Iran, guys. The fake news, that is.
Following President Trump's command to the United States, Israel, and the rest of the free world. The mission, which will go down in the history books, was an overwhelming success. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Dan Raisin Kane covered the operation in great detail at their briefing this morning at the Pentagon, and I encourage every American to watch it. As President Trump has said repeatedly, the United States of America has the greatest, fiercest, and bravest armed forces ever to stride the face of this earth, and we couldn't be more grateful and proud of our nation's warriors. The Iranian regime was weeks away from being able to produce a nuclear weapon that would threaten the entire world before President Trump took this decisive action on Saturday night to obliterate their nuclear capabilities. The contrast in leadership could not be more clear. Barack Obama and Joe Biden sent pallets of cash, American taxpayer dollars, in a failed attempt to buy the Iranian regime's compliance with a weak and ineffective deal. President Trump sent a fleet of American warplanes to destroy Iran's ability to produce a nuclear weapon. The United States and the entire world are safer because of this president's decisiveness. Despite agenda-driven leaks by the fake news media aimed at undermining this incredible accomplishment achieved by President Trump and our brave fighter pilots, there is broad consensus emerging already that Iran's nuclear capabilities were indeed destroyed. The United States, Israel, the United Nations, and even Iran all agree they can no longer build a nuclear weapon. So why did the president immediately turn to obliterating after the Iranian nuclear threat? Securing peace. Within 48 hours of the devastating strike, President Trump and his team brokered a historic ceasefire between Israel and Iran and officially ended the 12-day war. The Middle East is now shifting away from chaos and bloodshed and moving toward the beginning stages of a new era of peace and stability that President Trump has long called on them to achieve. This was unthinkable at this time last week, and this is what peace through strength looks like. Under President Trump, America will relentlessly advance our interests without being dragged into endless wars. His fearless leadership guarantees America is once again respected across the world. Just look at what he was able to accomplish at the NATO summit in the Netherlands. Many of you were there. Our allies agreed to invest 5% of their GDP annually in defense because President Trump demanded it. This will be the most significant reinforcement of NATO's collective defense in the history of the NATO alliance. And as a result, the United States of America will carry less of the burden, and our NATO allies will be stronger than ever before. As NATO Secretary General Rutte put it, for too long, one ally, the United States, and our taxpayers, I may add, carried too much of the burden of that commitment. And that changes today. President Trump made this change possible. We will produce trillions more for our common defense to make us stronger
Shout out
and
to
fairer
Big
by
Ed for being a
equalizing
member for the
spending
last
between
9
America
months.
and our allies. This is the Trump effect. This is what the president meant when he declared that America is back. Now, back here at home, Americans are paying much cheaper prices for gasoline this summer, as both the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times pointed out today. Here's how the Wall Street Journal put it. Hitting the road this summer won't bring as much of a big hit to your wallet. The national average for a gallon of regular gasoline is about 23 cents cheaper than this time last year. Analysts say plentiful supply is expected to keep prices down in the coming months. These are the cheapest gas prices at this point of the summer since 2021. And despite all the doom casting from liberal pundits, oil prices on Tuesday were lower than before the Israel-Iraq war, and more efficient, reliable, and affordable energy to protect our national security and fuel our people. Later this afternoon, here at the White House, the president will host a...
Man, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. What is going on? You got to be kidding me. I know it got to be something wrong with my router, guys.
Of the summer since 2021. As President Trump continues to unleash American energy, our country will have even more efficient, reliable, and affordable energy to protect our national security and fuel our people. Later this afternoon, here at the White House, the president will host a...
Oh, you got to be kidding me, guys. You got to be kidding me. Not again. Oh, my God. What is going on? Wow. Not again. What in the entire world is going on? I told y'all, man. What is going on? Somebody playing with me, y'all. Not again, guys. We see what I'm saying? Man, I'm gonna have to invest in me a new router or something, man. This is crazy. It happened again. Man, the forces of hate is heavy upon us today, man. What in the entire world is going on? Wow. You gotta be freaking kidding me. Oh, man. What in the entire... Man, look. Man, Iran, I'm sorry. Quit messing with my with my router, man. They are launching an attack. We're under attack, guys. They are launching an attack, against my Wi-Fi, man. What in the entire world is really going on, man? What is really going on? Golly, man.
One big, beautiful event in the East Room to rally Republicans to get and stronger. And we see a new era in which perhaps
I told him I was sorry.
States can sign on to the Abraham Accords. That was one of the president's most signature accomplishments in his first term, and he'd like to see more of those countries sign on in his second term. And so we look forward to sustaining a long and durable peace in the region, and the president wants to do that through a diplomatic solution. But as he proved on Saturday night, he's not afraid to use strength if we need to do it. Gabe.
Thanks, Caroline. The president mentioned in a Truth Social post that no enriched uranium was moved from Fordo. What about the other two sites, Isfahan and Natanz? How can the president be so sure that no uranium was moved?
Well, what I can assure you...
Iran, I'm sorry. Leave me alone, man.
Our intelligence agencies and Director Ratcliffe and the president's entire national security team were obviously watching these sites very closely in the weeks and the days leading up to the attack on Saturday, which I will add is one of the most secretive and successful operations in United States history. I think many of you in this room would agree with that, because none of you in this room knew about the strike on Saturday until it took place.
Nobody
so we were
knew
watching
about
closely, and there was no indication to the United States that any of that enriched uranium was moved prior to the strike.
From any of the sites?
Correct.
And then one more
Right.
thing, Caroline. Next week, the president mentioned there to be talks with Iran. Didn't mention any details, and Iran has not confirmed them. Can you share any details about any potential talks next week?
We don't have anything scheduled as of now, but I spoke to our Special Envoy Witkoff at length this morning, and I can assure all of you we continue to be in close communication with the Iranians and through our intermediaries as well, namely the Qataris, who have been an incredible ally and partner throughout this entire effort. And as I said, this administration is always focused on diplomacy and peace, and we want to ensure we can get to a place where Iran agrees to a non-enrichment civil nuclear program. And there are many other
Absolutely,
requests
Big
that the
Ed. Let
United
me
States
make
has.
it.
Those
Lord have
details
mercy. I'm
continue,
sorry, Irene.
to really, they're just starting. Of course, the operation was just on Saturday night, but we are in touch. And if there is a meeting, we will let you know, as we always do. Brian.
Thank you, Caroline. There's two. One on trade. On the July deadlines coming up for the trade deals, is that deadline still hard and fast for the president, or is he now considering even coming to trade deals after that deadline? And where is he on that going forward?
I think the president has been asked this quite a few times by many of you in the media. I've heard him answer it at press conferences and at gaggles. He just spoke about it on Air Force One. The deadline is not critical. The president can simply provide these countries with a deal if they refuse to make us one by the deadline, and that means
Iran said we'll show you, Mr. Broadcaster.
He believes is advantageous for the United States and for the American worker, and he will continue to do that. But as for the deals, our United States Trade Ambassador, Jamison Greer, I speak to him frequently. He's working very hard, and he has had very good and productive discussions with many of our key trading partners.
And on the One Big Beautiful Bill, there's conversations on the Hill right now about the Medicaid cuts. Yeah, I'm curious if the final bill that the president's been talking about comes to him and it has Medicaid cuts in it, will he sign it, or would he rather just Congress do away with those cuts?
I think our friends in both the Senate and the House know exactly where the president stands on Medicaid. He wants to get rid of the waste, fraud, and abuse, and they are working to do that in the Senate right now. Jennifer.
Follow up on that, on the big beautiful bill. Is there enough time for Congress to work through the issues it needs to work through? I'm saying, does the president need to move back his deadline a little bit?
We expect that bill to be on the president's desk for signature by July 4th.
Absolutely.
I know that there was a ruling by the Senate parliamentarian this morning. Look, this is part of the process. This is part of the inner workings of the United States Senate. But the president is adamant about seeing this bill on his desk here at the White House by Independence Day.
And then on Israel, is there a date set for the prime minister to visit the White House yet? Is he coming in a couple weeks?
There isn't a date, but the prime minister has expressed interest in coming to the White House to meet with the president and come to Washington. The president is obviously very open to that, but we don't have a date. When we do, we'll let you all know. Kate.
The president suggested he was open to sending more Patriot air defense missiles to Ukraine. Is that going to happen, and were there any other assurances that he made directly to Zelensky when they met?
Let's just stay out of other people's stuff. How about that?
Between he and President Zelensky, but the meeting was a good meeting, and it was a meeting towards progress, and the president, as he said, repeatedly wants to see this war come to an end, but I'll let him speak on that specific.
And Witkoff yesterday suggested that there would be more countries signing on to the Abraham Accords. What's the timeline on that, and which countries specifically is the administration looking to have sign on?
Well, the president is certainly hopeful that more countries in the region will sign on to the Abraham Accords. Again, we want to see a long, withstanding, and durable peace in the Middle East, and that's the way to do it. And when the president met with the new president of Syria, that was one of the requests that he made for Syria to sign on to the Abraham Accords. I don't have a timeline for you, but this administration wants to see that happen, and our partners in the region should know that. Rachel.
Thanks so much. Just to follow back up on the meeting that the president mentioned about wanting to have this meeting with the Iranians next week. Clearly there's a willingness here from the administration mentioned to want to meet with Iranian officials. What is the holdup here in trying to schedule it? Are you experiencing any resistance from the Iranians?
No, have some patience. We just had this strike on Saturday night. The president secured a ceasefire. A lot has happened in the last week. He was just in the Netherlands. He's back home to have a big event this afternoon on the One Big Beautiful Bill and get our domestic priorities across the finish line. So we'll get there. And like I said, we're in constant communication.
Just one more, just on the goal of the meeting. The president mentioned yesterday that it may not be necessary to have an agreement with the Iranians. What is the purpose? What would be the goal of this meeting?
Again, to continue moving forward towards a long-standing peace in the Middle East. Jordan.
Yes, Caroline, thank you. So the president had some harsh words for both Israel and Iran.
Yeah, he did. He said they don't know what the F they're doing.
They both violated the ceasefire, he said. What's your response to Americans who are worried the peace isn't going to last and think that Israel is trying to plunge us into another endless war on their behalf?
I think the fact that the president was able to successfully negotiate a ceasefire when nobody thought that was possible, it was a surprise to everyone in this room. It was a surprise to the world, but the president got it done because he wants to see peace in this world. He does not want the United States to be dragged into these conflicts. Again, he's not afraid to use strength if he has to, but the president has already proven he can put America first and deliver on peace at the same time. They're not mutually exclusive goals.
And then one more, after Carrie Lake, she testified in the House Foreign Affairs Committee.
They say
on
peace
waste fraud
is not happening,
and
all right?
the Rock, really, in Voice of America and USAGF. The president called for Congress to kill it. What does that look like, and is the president willing to sign an executive order?
Well, I believe that action would have to be legislative through Congress, and the president directed Congress to get that done in his Truth Social post yesterday. If there is any executive action that can be taken to cut some of the waste, fraud, and abuse or do away with the program entirely, I'm sure our great Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller, is already looking into it. And if it can be done, it will be done here at the White House, but Congress should act as well. To the back, go ahead. Yes.
Caroline, thank you. The administration
To the back and then carry on.
What's up, Leticia? This is live at the White House, guys.
Can you share what other assessments are currently underway to get to the bottom of just how effective these strikes were?
Yes, well, I can assure you what the CIA director said, that when we look at the entirety of the intelligence that we have to this date, it concludes that these strikes on the Iranian nuclear facilities were absolutely successful. It was a total obliteration, as the president said, and not only does our own intelligence say that, but also the Iranian foreign minister has said that. We saw Israel conclude the same thing based on their own intelligence. We also had the United Nations say that as well. So I think the only other time the United Nations, Israel, Iran, and the United States has agreed on something is that the sky is blue, but they all agree that Iran's nuclear facilities were completely demolished. And I would just like to reemphasize, you mentioned this was a low confidence preliminary intelligence assessment, and the entirety of that assessment was not leaked to the media. Only tidbits of that assessment were leaked to CNN. And we have seen this playbook run before, where you have people in the intelligence community or perhaps on Capitol Hill, we don't know, but I believe the FBI is investigating to find out who that leaker was, because it's illegal. And they should be held accountable for that. Leaked bits and pieces of an intel assessment to push a false narrative. And it's to the same reporter, I will add, Natasha Bertrand of CNN, who has done this in the past. In 2020, it was Natasha Bertrand who had 51 intelligence analysts falsely lie to her, but she still put it on paper for some reason, that the Hunter Biden laptop story was Russian disinformation. We all know that's not true, right? We can all agree on that now. That was a lie from the intelligence community. Also in 2020, this same reporter, Natasha Bertrand, wrote that a top intel agency ruled out the man-made lab leak theory of the coronavirus origins. Again, the president was right about that. This reporter wrote a lie from the intelligence community to seek a narrative she wanted to prove, and guess what? We now know that's the truth. Also, in 2024, Bertrand pushed the suckers and losers hoax. She also pushed the fine people hoax, which was taking the president's words purposely out of context. And then last October, and I believe this is notable, Natasha Bertrand published an article in Politico from
Natasha might be going to jail, guys.
She said that John Ratcliffe was speaking without any evidence when he said Iran was attempting to undermine President Trump's presidential campaign. And then we, of course, found out that was absolutely true. In fact, the Biden administration declassed an intel report which said they had high confidence that Iran had done exactly what Ratcliffe alleged. They did run an influence campaign to hurt President Trump's candidacy. In fact, we know the Iranians tried to take President Trump's life. And so this is a reporter who has been unfortunately used by people who dislike Donald Trump in this government to push fake and false narratives. She should be ashamed of herself. And that's not what reporting is. Journalism is trying to find the facts and the truth. And this week, we saw this same reporter being used to push a fake narrative to try to undermine the President of the United States, and more importantly, the brave fighter pilots who conducted one of the most successful operations in United States history.
Yeah, she put a name on it,
and I think the American people fully know that this operation was a complete and total success. Elizabeth.
Thank you, Caroline. The Miami Herald recently published a story saying the Trump administration
Can we get 10 more likes? Continue to double tap that screen,
The Trump
guys.
administration has denounced this as false. Could you clarify the Trump administration's position on protecting migrant children, particularly the 300,000 lost under the Biden administration?
Yes, I saw that Miami Herald article yesterday, and I was aghast at the headline. It's egregious to accuse this administration of trying to target foster children. That is not at all what is happening at the Department of Homeland Security. And I learned that the Department of Homeland Security actually tried to work in good faith with this reporter to get this story right, to explain that this administration is trying to protect foster children. We are trying to keep children out of harm's way, even if that means their parents are not law-abiding citizens. We want to protect children, unlike the previous administration, which allowed children to be trafficked and raped, and in some cases killed because of the open border policies. Unfortunately, the Miami Herald just completely degraded themselves with this report, despite having a full list of facts from the Department of Homeland Security. It's another example of fake news. And the May border numbers speak for themselves. Not a single illegal alien was allowed into this country because of this administration's border policies in the month of May. That means not a single child was allowed into this country, possibly with human smugglers or human traffickers. And we know that was happening at the rate of thousands and thousands of children every single month in the previous administration for 4 years. And you didn't see any reporting of that from the Miami Herald, but now they're trying to accuse this administration. And we tried to give them the facts, and they refused to report them. So thank you for bringing that report to light. Aisha. You too.
I know you're looking for
You're usually on the Hill.
I know, I'm here today. I know you're looking for this leaker. Is it your belief, I know you said earlier,
Natasha might be going to jail. They done named her
at the Pentagon,
as a potential person that leaked it.
It might be in Capitol Hill. And how confident are you that you'll find this leaker?
Well, I'm not personally looking for the leaker. The FBI is looking for the leaker, so you'll have to ask them in the Department of Justice in terms of this investigation. But leaking top secret classified intelligence is a crime, and people need to be held accountable for that crime.
Can I just ask you about how you're going to be limiting intel to Congress? What would you say to lawmakers who say they have oversight privileges, they need this information?
This administration wants to ensure that classified intelligence is not ending up in irresponsible hands. And
this is an official statement from the White House, guys. It's live.
Secret classified information are being responsible with it. And unfortunately, clearly, someone who had their hands on this, and it was a very few people, few number of people in our government who saw this report, that person was irresponsible with it, and we need to get to the bottom of it, and we need to strengthen that process to protect our national security and protect the American public. Mary Margaret, go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline.
Sure.
You just laid out a lot of different stories about disinformation that Natasha, excuse me,
aka disinformation, aka fake news.
Time at Politico and at CNN. Why would any member of the Trump administration leak anything to her?
Well, again, as I just said, we're investigating who that leaker was. It could have been someone in the intelligence community, or it could have been someone on Capitol Hill who had access to this document. The FBI is searching for that person. Go ahead.
Thanks, Caroline.
Let's talk about it, simply
ghetto.
Camp David, absolutely, aka somebody getting locked up.
Follow up on that really quickly. Before the strikes on Iran, we saw a number of other leaks about Tulsi Gabbard, the Vice President Vance. Is there an effort to divide the president's team when it comes to these leaks and which reporters they choose?
I do believe there's an effort on the outside of this building to try to divide the president's team on the inside. And sometimes you have to look at these headlines and laugh, because I've been in meetings where I know these things are absolutely not true. And again, we do our best here, I believe, to try to push back and correct the record with all of you. But there is fake reporting. That's just the reality of this country, unfortunately. But I can assure you the president's team is strong, especially the national security team. Everyone is very proud of the president, of our commander-in-chief, and of our military for the successful operation that took place on Saturday night.
Thanks, Carolyn. The President was obviously very pleased with getting his NATO allies to increase defence spending. He's made the same demands of Asia-Pacific allies of the United States, including Australia, where I'm from. How does the NATO result impact negotiations with Asia-Pacific allies? Does it, strengthen the President's resolve to say, well, you know, our NATO allies have done it, now you need to do it too?
Yeah, I mean, look, if our allies in Europe and our NATO allies can do it, I think our allies and our friends in the Asia-Pacific region can do it as well. But as for our specific relations in those discussions, I'll let the president speak on those.
Can I just ask as well, when he had to leave the G7 early, he missed out on a number of bilateral meetings that were scheduled.
I hear you, Dandy Jane. What's up, Keisha Michelle?
Obviously, President Zelensky, he's managed to meet since then, but are there plans afoot to make up for those meetings with the world leaders that he missed out on?
Yeah, I think many of those world leaders understood the situation happening in the Middle East and the urgency and the need for the president to get back to Washington to monitor that situation. And obviously that was the right call, considering the success of not only the operation on Saturday night, but also the ceasefire that the president has since brokered on behalf of not just our country, but the entire world, frankly. But he has made up a couple of those meetings, and he has had direct phone calls with some of those leaders he was supposed to meet with as well. Not all. Ed.
Oh yeah, thanks, Carolyn. So to clarify on trade, so what happens to the countries other than China on July 9th?
That's a decision for the president to make, and I will let him make it.
Okay, and secondly, so now that oil is just about upper $60s a barrel, when's the administration going to start refilling the Strategic Petroleum Reserve?
That's, again, a decision for the president to make and our Secretary of Energy. There's no imminent plans to do that, from what I understand. But as you have seen with the plummet of oil prices in this country, it's because this president and our Department of Energy have really tapped into our resources here, and we have an increase of supply, unlike the previous administration that totally hampered our domestic energy efforts, but totally robbed and drained our strategic petroleum reserves. So when the time is right, the president will make that decision. But right now, we are utilizing the resources that God blessed us with right here in our country to produce energy for our people.
On the one big beautiful bill, does the president believe the parliamentarian of the Senate should be removed?
I haven't spoken to him about that, and I'll let him speak on it. However, again, he knows this is part of the process.
They looking for her.
And he wants to see this bill done, and he remains very much engaged in these conversations and in this process with lawmakers in both the Senate and the House side, and the whole White House does as well. In the back, yes, Libby.
Thank you, Caroline. Earlier today, the president stated that these photos out of Fordo that were showing nuclear materials being removed, suspected of showing that, were just concrete workers. What intelligence is that based upon?
Look, the president shared that statement with all of you, and I already answered the question about whether uranium was moved prior to the strike, and the answer is no.
Is there a chance that the DIA report becomes public at any point?
I don't think this administration is going to get into the habit of
let's get Danny Jane on a rocket ship. We'll holler at you.
Those classifications exist for a reason.
Go find you somebody better talking about this guy's the worst. We'll holler at you, Danny Jane, ASMR, MHMR, whatever you are. We'll see you later.
You had a big meeting on Capitol Hill yesterday with the Republican Study Committee. Did you walk away from that meeting pleased with what you heard? Did it bolster your confidence that Congress is able to meet that the expectation of the president?
Yes, I did. The camaraderie at the Republican Study Committee was great. Members, expressed their feelings about the bill, but as we saw, the bill passed through the House, despite many people believing it could not. So the House is ready to receive this bill back from the Senate so they can pass it and bring it to the president's desk. So it was a great meeting, and Republicans are very unified. And we also talked about the mayoral race in New York City and how the victory of the Democratic primary candidate really shows how far left and unhinged the Democrat Party has become. And Republicans truly are on the right side of every issue in this country. We are on the side of no men and women's sports, on the side of low taxes, secure borders. So that was the topic of discussion, and the unity was strong and the camaraderie was high. And I know everyone looks forward to being here at the White House for the bill signing next week. Sure.
Thanks, Caroline. The Supreme Court ruled this morning that South Carolina is allowed to deem Planned Parenthood as not a qualified healthcare provider, and that will block it from receiving Medicaid funds. Does the White House have a statement on that ruling, and would the president support a standalone bill from Congress to defund Planned Parenthood at a federal level rather than letting each state determine it?
I'll let the president speak on that legislative priority, but as for the Supreme Court ruling, the president has always maintained that Americans should not be forced to violate their conscience and their religious liberty by having their tax dollars fund abortions, and we're glad the Supreme Court ruled on that side today, or yesterday.
Then on Iran, but on a domestic matter, in January, President Trump revoked security details for several former administrations, including
This is live, guys, from the White House.
Given the heightened tensions with Iran right now, is he considering restoring those security details?
That's not under consideration right now. Fran.
If I could follow up on trade, and then I have a question about the bill as well. Are you saying at this point that there's no plans to extend that July 8th and July 9th deadline? I mean, especially with everything that's been going on from Iran to the tax bill on Capitol Hill, is that under consideration at all at this point?
Perhaps it could be extended, but that's a decision for the president to make.
And as far as the bill itself goes, since the president has been back, what has he been doing beyond the event that he's having later today to try and get wobbly senators on board? Is he making phone calls, twisting arms? Is he having some people over to the White House? Can you tell us more about that?
There have been meetings at the White House this week. I saw some senators rolling out of the Oval Office the other day, and the president remains on the phones talking to his friends in the Senate when necessary, and when they call, he picks up the phone. And I think that's why they greatly trust and respect his leadership. And we're having that big event later this afternoon at 4 o'clock. I would encourage you all to tune in. We're going to have some great everyday Americans.
We will most definitely be there.
Some tipped delivery drivers. I think we're going to have a barber from the great state of Arkansas here in attendance. We're going to have some law enforcement officers, some Border Patrol agents, and Tom Homan will be speaking as well. So the point of this event is to show the American people how this bill works for them and how there are provisions in this bill that will
they're going to be talking about the big, beautiful bill.
You rolling out of the Oval Office?
I'll let the president speak on that if you wish. I don't share details about his private meetings without his permission. Emily, go ahead.
Today, the Justice Department announced it was opening an investigation into employment discrimination at the University of California, alleging they had race and sex-based quotas. Federal law bars hiring somebody based on their race or sex, but do you also object to universities working harder to make sure they have a diverse group of candidates?
They're going to have Ice Baby speaking. We're going to be in the building.
I have not seen that
It is a mass deforestation situation.
Check in. What I can tell you, it's the position of this president that we want to restore a merit-based society and culture in the United States of America, where people are not hired nor are they promoted based on their color of their skin or their gender. The president wants people to be hired in the workforce because of their merit and their skill, and I think most Americans agree with that. I'll take one more. Carrie, because I promised you earlier.
So the Ayatollah Khomeini came out and said that Iran will, quote, never surrender to the U.S. That being said, what remains to do with the possible responses from Iranian proxies in the region and even in the U.S.?
Look, we saw the Ayatollah's video, and when you have a totalitarian regime, you have to save face. I think any common sense, open-minded person knows the truth about the precision strikes on Saturday night. They were wildly successful, and it's what led to the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Iran, which the president
get
is
60
very
more
grateful
people
for,
in on that light?
And the United
Double
States
tap
of America
that screen, guys. Get the
remains
lights
prepared
up.
to defend our assets and our personnel in the region. And again, I would just emphasize the success of the strike that took place on Saturday night, and the world is a safer place because of it. Thanks, guys, for coming today, and you'll see the president at 4 o'clock.
Thanks.
All right, so that was live from the White House, guys. So basically, we found out, what's her name? Natasha is most definitely under the surveillance by the FBI for leaking the information basically out. They said she is responsible for the information being leaked, guys. Let's get back over here to the Pentagon where they was talking about what took place in Iran, guys. Yeah, we found out that Natasha may be going to jail, basically for leaking that fake info. Uh-oh. Natasha, you better be on high alert.
for a day or two the opportunity to tell that story, because as the chairman said, these men and women that did this mission, they just want to do their job. They're not expecting their story to be told. They're not expecting the glory. They are grateful for the flags and the hugs of family. That's why they do the job. But they also know they were a part of something historic. We know how historic it was. The chairman does. I know. Our staffs know. And so that's why we are, and the president of the United States knows. And that's why it's almost personal when we see the way in which leaks are used to try to disparage the outcome or muddy the waters about the impact of what happened without being responsible with information and allowing the professionals to assess and provide that information just like the chairman did.
Yeah, they is on
So
the
thank you, Mr.
news
Chairman,
top,
for that
guys.
information.
She spoke a
And
little
we
bit
welcome
on
a few
the
additional
news.
questions.
Yeah, they on
Yes,
the
sir.
news top.
General, on Sunday you said final battle damage will take some time. And you also said, I think BDA is still pending, and it would be way too early for me to comment on what may or may not still be there at the nuclear facility. That was just over 3 days ago. So what has changed? Would you use the term obliterated as well?
Sure, like I said, we don't do BDA. I'll refer that to the intelligence community, and
You're talking with them. I mean, what changed?
This is from the Pentagon, guys.
So, you know,
sir, I think I said.
I think I explained what changed. There was a great deal of irresponsible reporting based on leaks, preliminary information in low confidence. Again, when someone leaks something,
Thank you, amazingly beautiful.
they do it with an agenda. And when you leak a portion of an intelligence, just the little portion that makes it seem like maybe the strike wasn't effective, then you start a news cycle. Whether it's the Washington Post or Fox News or CNN or MSNBC, you start a news cycle that starts to call into question the efficacy. No, that's why. So that's my lane to understand and translate and talk about those types of things. So I can use the word obliterated. He could use defeat, destroyed, assess, all of those things. But ultimately, we're here to clarify what these weapons are capable of, which anyone with, two eyes, some ears, and a brain can recognize that kind of firepower with that specificity at that location and others is going to have a devastating effect. So we all recognize there will be days and weeks ahead. That's why yesterday I said, if you want to know what's going on at Fordo, you better go there and get a big shovel, because no one's under there right now. No one's under there able to assess, and everyone's using reflections of what they see. And that's why the Israelis, the Iranians, the IAEA, the UN, to a man and to a woman who recognize the capability of this weapon system are acknowledging how destructive it's been. So that's what's changed.
just 3 or 4 days later. What
See, this is a point. This is how difficult it is to actually manage. You just watched a video of what this weapon is capable of. That's where we find our confidence, is the skill, manliness, and the capability of the systems they employed, and the recognition so far in the reflections that it was a highly successful mission.
Sure, I think you could, I'd say go out, the IC should be able to help you answer that question. They look at a variety, as the Secretary has alluded to, we look at a variety of things. I don't do that. They do. All different sources of intel, which I'd refer you to them to get clarity on.
You say this is the prime example of what I'm talking about.
I go back to the IC, whether it's Director Radcliffe or ODNI Gabbard. I read the statements at the beginning. They're the ones aggregating the intelligence, and they're saying
to the people that's asking what's the video. Earlier they played a video on what the missiles that they did launch basically done over there in Iran. They showed a whole little visual, like an AI visual of what they think they were able to accomplish with the ground penetrating missiles that they did over there in Iran. That's what the video he's referencing is about.
Nuclear facilities were destroyed and would have to be rebuilt over a number of years. Facilities were destroyed. What do we got right here?
Sir, you cited a body of credible intelligence to suggest the damage at Fordo and other places. What is that referring to, and when can we see it?
I was reading from the CIA director's statement, which came out last night. CIA, again, they do the BDA, they do the assessment. CIA can confirm that a body of credible intelligence indicates, it also goes on to say, new intelligence from historically reliable and accurate sources and methods. Now, you can imagine the CIA director is going to be very careful about how he articulates things of that sensitivity. Classified, secret, top secret, compartmentalized. He's going to know things that you're not going to know, that the press isn't going to know, and he's reflecting that The sources he's seeing are highly credible. They've given credible intelligence. They or those processes have given credible intelligence in the past, and that's what he's basing it on.
You think we need to see that?
Do you have a top secret clearance, sir?
Eventually, the American public wants
He asked me if he had a top secret clearance. Let's go.
Yeah,
I wanted to ask briefly just.
No, not you. Check it, sure.
Not you. He ain't talking to no fake news.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, sir. Anybody who's ever read a Battalion S2 report
Yeah,
after
love,
a fight
we most
knows that
definitely
it's
back.
usually-
Iran let us
the
make
initial
it.
report
What's
is
up,
usually
homebody,
wrong,
mom?
sometimes grossly so. Has what happened in this incident caused y'all to sort of rethink the intelligence process or the dissemination, or do you think it's just a matter, I mean, if the process itself doesn't require any more adjustment?
Well, I can tell you what the chairman told me in the Situation Room and reminded us all, which is alongside what you just said, sir, is that the first reports are almost always wrong. They're almost always incomplete, right? Anything, whether it's a squad level operation or a strategic level operation, the initial reflections you get are coming at you at a high rate of speed from a lot of different sources. So your job is to step back and assess them. And that's why we're urging caution about premising entire stories on biased leaks to biased publications trying to make something look
Who called it biased leaks on biased publications, guys? They are taking heavy shots at the American media, guys. They are upset about what was leaked to Natasha. I'm telling y'all, Natasha is in big trouble. She better go into hiding. You know what I'm saying? She better go on the run, because they saying the FBI watching her, and then you got them going on whole rampages talking about the fake news.
How about we take a beat, recognize first the success of our warriors, hold them up, tell their stories, celebrate that, wave an American flag, be proud of what we accomplished. And in the meantime, I can assure you, the chairman and his staff, the intelligence community, our staff and others are doing all the assessments necessary to make sure that mission was indeed successful. Yes, right there.
Sir, thank you, Mr. Secretary. Iran has recognized that their nuclear program was indeed severely damaged.
Absolutely, she better get the going.
Only strengthen their ability and their determination to complete their nuclear program. How do you respond to that, sir? Is that a provocation from Iran?
Well, I would say Iran's going to have to say a lot of things right now in order to bolster their image, especially internally. You know, in the media, there's a lot of things they'll say for domestic consumption. But we're watching very closely what they do. Again, that's the intel community. Our job as the chairman, the chairman laid it out so beautifully. Our job is to be prepared. And how proud are you? How proud am I? I didn't know the full story of those men and women 15 years ago who've been pointing at that target. That makes me proud to be an American. That's an awesome story. I hope we can tell more aspects of that in an unclassified way in the future. That's a great thing to know. Our job is to be prepared when the commander-in-chief calls based on those assessments. So, of course, our IC, the Intelligence Committee, will keep watching what Iran does and pay attention to that. But the president has created the contours, the opportunity for a deal, for peace, in something that the world said was intractable, that wasn't possible. And we got that peace, that ceasefire, that option, because of strength, because of his willingness to use American military might that no one else on the planet can do, with the kind of planners and operators that the chairman just laid out. Yes, sir. Right there. Yep.
Lisa? Just a quick question. There's public imagery available saying that highly enriched uranium was moved out of Fordo before the strikes. Is that accurate? Have you seen that? And Mr. Chairman, a question for you. Have you been pressured to change your assessment or give a more rosy intelligence assessment to us by any political factors, whether it's the president or the secretary? And if you were, would you do that?
Yeah, well, that one's easy. No, no, I have not, and no, I would not. My job as the chairman is to offer a range of options to the president and the National Command Authority to deliver the risks associated with each of those, and then take the orders of the National Command Authority and go execute them. I've never been pressured by the president or the secretary to do anything other than tell them exactly what I'm thinking, and that's exactly what I've done.
There's nothing that I've seen that suggests that we didn't hit exactly what we wanted to hit in those locations.
It's about highly enriched uranium. Do you have
certainty that all the highly enriched uranium was inside the Fordo mountain, or some of it, because there were satellite photos that showed more than a dozen trucks there 2 days in advance.
Who do you believe? You believe the government or the
that
news?
highly enriched uranium was moved?
Of course, we're watching every single aspect, but Jennifer, you've been about the worst. The one who misrepresents the most intentionally. What the president says.
Whoa!
Represents the most intentionally.
I almost missed that. He called her out by name. She called her out. Said you are one of the ones who do it on intentionally. You know, basically, wow. He called her out, y'all.
About the worst.
Listen.
Of course, we're watching every single aspect, but Jennifer, you've been about the worst.
Told Jennifer she been about the worst. Oh my goodness. Boy, I told y'all the Trump administration is not playing. You know what I'm saying? They is calling people out by name. Jennifer, you been about the worst. Let's go.
And was moved.
Of course, we're watching every single aspect, but Jennifer, you've been about the worst.
Wow.
The one who misrepresents the most intentionally.
Misrepresents.
What the president says. I'm familiar.
Report about the ventilation shafts on Saturday night.
Wow, look at his face. I gotta run that back one more time.
What the president says. I'm suspect, but Jennifer, you've been about the worst. The one who misrepresents the most intentionally. What the president says. I'm familiar.
Report about the ventilation shafts on Saturday night. And in fact, I was the first to describe the B-2 bomb.
Hey man, I don't gotta explain nothing to you, 6'8", whatever your name is, 666, sign of the devil. I ain't gotta explain nothing to you, dog. Stop asking me questions and pay attention to the content. I can laugh, I can scream, I can holler, I can do whatever I want. This is my stream. If you don't like it, move around.
The refueling, the entire mission with great accuracy. So I take issue with that.
I appreciate you acknowledging that this was the first the most successful mission based on operational security that this department has done since you've been here, and I appreciate that. So we're looking at all aspects of intelligence and making sure we have a sense
He
of
told Jennifer she about the worst.
Acknowledge the female pilots that also participated in this mission. The early messages that you sent out only congratulated the boys.
So when I say something like our boys and bombers, see, this is the kind of thing the press does, right? Of course, the chairman mentioned a female bomber pilot. That's fantastic. She's fantastic. She's a hero. I want more female bomber pilots. I hope the men and women of our country sign up to do such brave and audacious things. But when you spin it as, because I say our boys and bombers as a common phrase, I'll keep saying things like that, whether they're men or women. I'm very proud of that female pilot, just like I'm very proud of those male pilots. And I don't care if it's a male or a female in that cockpit, and the American people don't care. But it's the obsession with race and gender in this department that's changed priorities. And we don't do that anymore. We don't play your little games. Yes, right there.
You know for certain that the uranium was removed from the facility before the B-2 struck.
So I'm not aware of any intelligence that I've reviewed that says things were not where they were supposed to be, moved or otherwise. Yes.
Kelly Meyer with News Nation, and just off the top, want to say we're grateful for the service.
We got News Nation.
And
What you
that
think
serves.
about them?
I wanted to ask you, the CIA statement said, when possible, they will provide updates and information to the public for transparency, and I believe that's what we're looking for here. Do you commit to share the Defense Intelligence Agency report when it is ready, so the American people can understand more about the intelligence assessment?
Well, actually, the report that was discussed, this preliminary report, was what's called a restrike report. So it comes to us to give us an assessment whether a target would need to be restruck, right? That's the reason why. So based on internal feedback loop that we're supposed to have access to, unfortunately, someone took advantage of that.
Hold on. Ghetto, not only are they on Natasha, you know what I'm saying, they the Pentagon is on Jessica too. Told her she was one of the worst. Yeah, you are one of the worst. Wow. That might be the first time I seen something like that. Called her out by name, took her question, and then gave her a piece of his mind.
Whatever is supposed to be made public will be, but whatever has to stay sensitive.
Sir, can I jump in? You know, one of the things that I'm trying to do through this journey that we're on together, of course, transparency, but also the requirement to really protect these capabilities. I guess time's up. So there's a balance in there, right? We do need to preserve options should the nation and the joint force be tasked to go do something again. So I'm confident we'll find the middle ground, but there are some things that if asked, I want to not release related to this.
So we're going to leave it right there. I want to thank the heroism of our men and women in the military. What they accomplished is truly historic, setting back the Iranian nuclear program untold number of years. It was a devastating attack. We appreciate you covering it. Thank you very much, Chairman. Thank you.
All right, so that was live from there was a press conference from the Pentagon, guys, basically calling out the fake news, basically gave us a video of what happened, what they did when they dropped those missiles over there in Iran. But it's not over yet for the simple fact that the Iranian supreme leader came out and spoke on this all as well, and most definitely said that they declare a victory over Israel, and basically that they slapped America in the face. I mean, check this out. His words, not mine. Let's check out what the Iranian supreme leader had to say about all this.
We are bringing you out of the conflict. Swaying under our blows. They would have never imagined to have been dealt these blows, but yet this is what had happened. We thank God Almighty for assisting our armed forces.
This is what the Iranian supreme leader had to say.
Enabled them to penetrate the multi-layers of defense set up by the enemies. All the military and non-military...
Oh yeah, one more thing, man. We are less than 100 subscribers away from reaching 36K, guys. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're 25 likes away from 500 on the like. So if it's 25 people in the building that have not hit the like button, most definitely do that by double tapping the screen of your mobile device or clicking those three dots, hitting that thumbs up. This is not an AI speech. This is the official response from the Iranian supreme leader about what took place in his country and what they did to the U.S., guys. Let's get the likes up and most definitely subscribe to the channel if you are new.
Positions came under our attack. All these positions within the Zionist entity came under attack. The Zionist entity's aggression was met by lethal and fatal attacks, and we succeeded in destroying the enemy's capabilities. And this is a message that the Zionist entity must come to know. Any aggression against the Islamic Republic of Iran will have a dear cost, a big and high price. This is
so
what
basically, you
happened.
feel like they won something.
Praise and pride to the Iranian armed forces, the Iranian people. Simply, the armed forces are part and parcel of the Iranian people. It is the Iranian people that provided, raised, and fostered those armed forces personnel. Today, we have a robust, mighty armed forces. A second message of congratulations on the victory
They
of
said they
our
got a
beloved
victory.
Iran against the United States of America.
Check it out.
A second message of congratulations on the victory of our beloved Iran against the United States of America.
So they saying they declare a victory against us, guys. They said they won. What? Yeah, I told y'all, he said they slapped us in the face.
The United States immediately intervened and got involved in the war simply for the reason that they have a firm conviction if they hadn't, the Zionist entity would be annihilated. That's why the United States had it in rescue and support of the Zionist entity. Yet they did not win any victory. They attacked our nuclear facilities, and this matter cannot go unpunished within the international venues. However, they failed to undermine these nuclear facilities.
Well, we got America saying that we completely obliterated it, and now y'all hear the Iranian supreme leader say that we failed to take out their nuclear capabilities, guys. Oh, wow. You know what I'm saying? Y'all heard it from the supreme leader himself. One more time in case you missed it.
The international venues. However, they failed to undermine these nuclear facilities. The United States President amplified their military operations, yet it later proved that
basically said Trump put 20 on 10 when he said they obliterated, because according to the supreme leader, they saying we didn't do nothing. Oh, wow.
They have been excessively exaggerating. It is known to all that the outward position of the Americans is failure, as they failed to destroy the Iranian nuclear facilities. That's why
they said we failed to destroy the Iranian nuclear facilities, guys, which means that this potential fake news that they keep on talking about could be right news. You know what I'm saying? It might be real news. According to Iran, we didn't do nothing.
Why they continued with their attempt to magnify and amplify their attacks on our facilities in order to conceal their failure. The Islamic Republic of Iran dealt a heavy blow to the American forces when they targeted and attacked the American military base in Al Udeid in Qatar, causing grave damage.
Now, we've been saying that we knocked all their missiles out the sky, but according to him, he said they did grave danger. I mean, they did grave danger. I mean, damage. Why I keep saying danger? They did grave damage to our facilities in Qatar. So, man, who do you believe in all of this? Do you believe the American government, the media, you know what I'm saying? Or do you believe the people that's over there? I don't know, man. This is crazy. But he is most definitely contradicting everything that's been put out here in front of us and saying that we are lying, like that they really did something. They declared victory, guys. Oh, wow.
The base. Those who amplified their attacks on our nuclear facilities came out to downplay our attack on their military.
Earl, who said I believe anything? Do you believe it? Stop all wait, man. Man, let me tell you this. I am a fair and neutral platform. Everybody gets the opportunity to speak. So if the other side speaks, I'm going to most definitely put it out there so we can hear what they saying too. I'm not just going to go with what Trump and them say, and I'm not just going to go with what they say. I'm going to listen to both sides and then make my opinion from them. I'm not telling you who to believe. Don't tell me who to believe. I'm not saying that he right or he wrong. I'm just letting you know that it was said, sir. You know, so take that into accountability.
Military base. What matters is that the Iranian armed forces have the capability to target and attack any position they desire at any point of time. Similarly, the American military bases will come under our attack if the American forces direct any belligerence against Iran.
Oh, wow.
The third message is
They said they will come back again if we do any belligerence against Iran, that our military bases will most definitely be attacked. That's what he said. If we come back with any belligerence against Iran.
by virtue of the unity, solidarity, and harmony among our people, the entire population, one voice, one hand, standing side by side, rising above their differences. They rose up and stood by the side of the Islamic Republic of Iran and their armed forces. Not only that, they praised and commended the united ranks of our armed forces. The Iranian people have demonstrated their mettle and their unity against the belligerence initiated against the Islamic Republic of Iran. It is a message that our people are one voice, one hand, one block. The key message of my word here is that one of his speeches, the United States President said Iran must completely give up and surrender. Then the issue is not our nuclear endeavors,
Somebody
yet
said F Iran.
our surrender. However, these words are much bigger than the US President himself. Iran is a deep-rooted empire, deep-rooted in history, with well-established civilization. That's why the word surrender is not within our vocabulary. The Iranian people
This is the Iranian supreme leader,
the
guys.
words uttered by the US President since the victory of the Iranian revolutions. The West, namely the United States, maintained animosity against Iran under many false pretexts. Sometimes they came up with, under the guise of human rights, women's rights. Now they are coming with other pretexts about our civil nuclear endeavors. Their ultimate goal is to see Iran surrendering. Former US President did not publicly utter such words. Simply, these words are not acceptable at the global legal level. No president has the right to demand one sovereign people to surrender. The Iranian cannot and will not surrender.
They said the Iranians cannot and will not surrender. Oh my goodness.
This is a key point in my message. Let the Iranian people know that the United States have deep-rooted animosity with Iran and the Iranian people, and they want us to surrender.
Yesterday,
this cannot and will not happen. Iran is mighty, established with deep civilization, deep-rooted in history, vast geography, and established culture. manifold bigger than the United States civilization. No one could imagine that Iran or the Iranians could surrender.
Man, that's crazy, y'all. So it's a lot of misinformation going around, I guess. Whether you believe ours or our news stations or you believe him. He said it. The Iranian supreme leader said that America did nothing to stop their nuclear sites. Basically, he's saying we missed or something like that. We didn't stop them. That's what they saying.
This is demanding Iran or the Iranian to surrender would bring about nothing but mockery. Iran and the Iranian people are dignified and will remain standing tall by the grace of God the Almighty. And I pray to God Almighty to bestow blessings and grace upon our beloved homeland and our people. And may God have mercy on the Supreme Leader Al-Khomeini. May he rest in peace.
Wow, y'all. So basically they reporting that we didn't do nothing. That's what, thank you for that gift. That's what the Iranian supreme leader said. So whether you believe Iran, whether you believe the news, whether you believe Trump and them, is completely up to you. But I ran across some on News Nation where Chris Cuomo said, basically, man, you got to go with your gut. You got to exercise, your mind and basically go with what you think is right. Check this out.
I say follow the facts when it comes to what the bombings did and did not do.
What did we do? What didn't we do? Shout out to Reed.
So what do we know and what matters? The effectiveness of the strikes, let's talk to somebody, okay? I'm not going to go off a leaked Pentagon report that claims that they didn't totally destroy Iran's nuclear program. Who said totally destroyed? When was that the bar? It was about stopping them from getting one. Trump said today he's seen new intelligence that the sites were obliterated. Now, I think this was a mistake for him to say if he can't prove it, but here's what he said.
The document
Let's go,
said
Chris.
it could be very severe damage, but they didn't take that. They said it could be limited or it could be very severe because it was very early after. Since then, we've collected additional intelligence. We've also spoken to people who have seen the site, and the site is obliterated. And we think everything
it's
nuclear is
obliterated,
down
right?
there. They didn't
Iran
take it
say
out.
we didn't do nothing.
We're going to talk to them next week with Iran. We may sign an agreement. I don't know. To me, I don't think it's that necessary. I mean, they had a war, they fought. Now they're going back to their world. I don't care if I have an agreement or not.
Well, but he does have to care that they don't try to restart the program. I mean, that's the whole point, right?
And they probably will.
So, because there is this push to say that Trump screwed it up, now you're going to see something that you don't usually take. Because if he's going to do one thing heavy and hard, it's defend himself. So the CIA releases a statement. They cite what they claim is a historically accurate source and method that confirms key Iranian nuclear facilities have been destroyed and would take years to rebuild. So what does that mean? And is that enough? I want to bring in somebody who knows. Former director of the CIA, former commander of the military's U.S. Central Command, General David Petraeus. It's good to see you, General. It's been a second.
Good to be back, Chris.
You are politically savvy as well. What do you make of this insistence that the bombings failed? And what do you look at for proof?
Well, frankly, I haven't seen people say the bombings fail. It's really a debate over how much damage was done. The DIA report apparently that was leaked was actually low confidence in what they actually said, so it should not have been given all that credence to begin with. I tend to think that the CIA statement, it aligns, frankly, with my own estimation, which is that severe damage was done to the program. And I think that's about where it should stay until you have the complete battle damage assessment done. And that takes time. There's no set limit for it. You could have a breakthrough. The CIA may have had access to something that enables them to make that statement with
high confidence, which is what you really want to see. There are reports that the Israelis actually had some monitors and so forth. That may be the case as well. But you can't help but look at the photographs and realize that you have these punched holes in the mountainside. That's good, actually. That means that it did what it's supposed to, which is to go down into the mountain over time, hundreds of feet. Each one of those culminates its descent with explosion of 5,000 pounds of explosive.
Make sure if you're new to the channel that you're subscribing, guys. Subscribe. We got Chris Kumo, basically telling you to follow the facts when it comes to whether if America really destroyed the nuclear sites or not. Remember that Iran said we didn't do nothing, as well as our own media said that we did really nothing to basically stop their nuclear programs.
12 of those, and it will have done enormous damage to any centrifuges that are in there. Just the sheer blast damage will be significant to these very sensitive instruments. And then if there is the highly enriched uranium in there, as was the case, I believe, there were trucks outside there, maybe some have moved on, and these are questions that do need to be answered. But I think it's important to be a bit measured at this moment in time and just say we can clearly see that there was very substantial damage done to really all of the nuclear facilities, but especially the three that we followed up the Israeli damage with our submarine-launched cruise missiles and then these massive ordnance penetrators. And then we'll see. Bigger question is, was there any high-enriched uranium that was stored elsewhere or was taken out for these strikes? And are there centrifuges that are elsewhere as well? Certainly some were in the manufacturing process that may have been stored somewhere else, this kind of thing. That's what we need to determine. And when that's determined, either I think Iran will have to agree to dismantle its entire nuclear program, and I'd like to see that kind of agreement, and to allow the International Atomic Energy Agency to go anywhere they want, at any time they want, to oversee the process and to verify and validate it. Or Israel will bomb it again. And I think those that say, well, they only set it back a few years, if that's the case, in a few years, Israel will bomb again. I think people do not appreciate how significant 10-7 was for the Israelis in their strategic context. They will no longer allow a threat to be built on their borders or even in the region, the way they did tolerate that in the past with Hezbollah in Lebanon, with Hamas in Gaza, with other proxies elsewhere, and then especially with Iran at home. And I think that's the new reality of the Israeli defense strategy. And I'm quite confident that if, again, material is discovered elsewhere, and one would think, given the intelligent penetration that Mossad demonstrated in the early days of this operation in particular, which is so extraordinary, 12 days and not even a single plane shot down, much less a maintenance problem reported that forced a pilot to bail out. It's really quite extraordinary. And our operation of 125 aircraft was very, very impressive as well.
I mean, obviously, you also have the collateral damage, and that's a very impersonal way to put it. They didn't just kill the specific targets. There are a lot of citizens that were hurt as well. And I think that the most sympathetic actor in the entire equation are the people of Iran that are held hostage by that regime. I wanted to ask you one question that's kind of pseudo-political. There is a narrative now, a way of thinking, let's say, in America, that we don't get anything from the alliance with Israel. That they get everything, they get the Iron Dome, they get all of this leverage because they have the big gorilla of the United States standing behind them, but that all the money and all the support doesn't really benefit the United States and that it should change. What is your response to that notion?
Well, look at what they have done to Lebanese Hezbollah, which prevented any progress in Lebanon for a very long period of time. And that's very advantageous for the region in many, many ways. And of course, that region, what really matters, as always, even though we are now net exporters of crude oil and huge exporters of liquid natural gas, is the flow of oil and gas out to the countries that it actually fuels the global economy. They've dramatically reduced Iran's threat to the region. All of the countries were subject to various challenges from Iran over the years or from their proxies. Hamas, that job's not done by any means, but dramatically degraded, and they're not going to be able to be helped by Iran now. And then some of the other proxies that they have as well. These have been murderous. During the surge in Iraq alone, hundreds of our soldiers were killed by the explosively formed penetrators provided to the Shia militia in Iraq by Iran. So seeing Iran cut down in this way in their capabilities, I think is very, very positive for a region that is very important to the world. Beyond that, there's the moral obligation, I think, that we should take and do take very seriously about a country that we helped bring into existence and repeatedly have come to the rescue
so
of
now they
at various
showing y'all
times when that was needed.
So basically, they showing y'all what I just showed y'all, and talking about it. So it is legitimate footage from the supreme leader, over there in Iran.
The October 73 war in particular, but others as well. And again, we get a great deal in return when it comes to intelligence sharing, especially partnership in a variety of respects in that world. And then also our defense alliance is very important as well, a defense partnership.
General Petraeus, I appreciate
love?
your perspective as always. Thank you
Make sure
for
y'all
being part of the
subscribe.
conversation here on News Nation.
We are less than 40 subscribers away from being at 36K. So make sure if you're not subscribed to the channel, you most definitely subscribe to Everything News, man. We will bring y'all everything that's in the news, on a day-to-day basis. Make sure that you subscribe if you're not subscribed, guys. Shout out to everybody in the building.
Good to be with you, Chris. Thanks.
All right, I'll see you again, General. Be well. 4 minutes and 35 seconds coming up. So Trump seemed to have successfully taken on the regime, at least for the moment. What does Bill O'Reilly what does he think matters in terms of assessing
Bill
what
O'Reilly
happened
again. What's
and
up,
what does he
man,
make
dog?
of the state of play in our politics? The big man, next. Of play in the O'Reilly, good to have you. What is your take on the
Bill
state
and
of
Kumo,
play
this should
in
be
the
good.
analysis of what happened in Iran?
Well, CNN used 4 anonymous sources to try to diminish the bombing raid, what
Agreed.
they do. But even worse was the news outlets have picked it up as fact. So anonymous sources are easy. You can get anybody to say anything. And when I read the article, I said, how do these anonymous sources know? There's nobody on the ground there. There's nobody going under the mountains.
Natasha told them. You know what I'm saying? According to the Pentagon, they said Natasha. They looking for Natasha. No, that wasn't the Pentagon. That was the White House. They said they looking for Natasha. Because she's always breaking the information and putting down Trump. They looking at her to be the one who basically got a hold to these documents or whatever. So she better get in the hiding. That's how they know, Bill.
See, the Iranians can't even do that because the mountain may collapse on them. There's absolutely no primary source reporting on the damage that the American planes caused. None. So you got 4 anonymous people saying, well, I might have heard this, I might have heard that. It's absurd. No competent journalistic editor would have printed that article. But since CNN is in business to make Trump look bad, as you said, every moment of every day, they throw it out there. But I think we all know that the journalism industry in America and the world is at the lowest point in the history of that industry. Is right now.
I think that it's trying too hard to compete with these pod bros and people who sell hysteria for profit. And we should just stick to what we do best, because in truth, podcasts have their place, don't get me wrong. I love having one, but they don't have any of the assets or capabilities of getting things right, or reporting or investigating the way real news agencies do. We just too often get caught up in the propaganda game. The only thing I disagree with you on is, and of course Trump asked for it by saying everything was obliterated, so he asks for the criticism because he doesn't know that either. But anonymous sources matter, Bill. If it weren't for anonymous sources in your career and mine, very often you wouldn't know anything about what's happening in the halls of power, because people aren't going to put their name to things because they get fired. So anonymous sources have their place. You just got to get it right.
I don't use them. And I've been pretty damn successful for 50 years in this business. I don't use them.
Let's go, Bill O'Reilly.
If I'm told something, I check it out another way. And you can always do that. If I had something invited, like there was going to be an explosion at this address tonight, and I had to get it out, I would tell people why I'm doing the anonymous source thing, if I had to do it. But I don't use them. I don't do a podcast. I do a broadcast. And you're absolutely right. The podcasters couldn't care
We need
less
15
about what's
more
true and what
subscribers,
isn't. They just
guys,
want
to
people
hit
watch.
36K.
They want attention. And that's
15
what they
more
do. It's a
subscribers.
huge industry. But I disagree with you about CNN. CNN knows better. They're so desperate to try to get some kind of surge of people to watch that they'll violate every
Well, they see what's happening on the left. And look, again, you and I disagree about CNN. Even though I got fired, I have a lot of respect for the men and women who are doing the job there, and I miss a lot of them. And I think it's a great place. But
yeah, you did get
when they're wrong,
fired,
they're
Chris.
wrong.
They
When
got
do
you
things
right
they
up
shouldn't,
out
they
of there.
shouldn't. I don't blame the whole place. You got to look at the specific platform.
Zachary says fake news. Well, that's what Trump and them been saying.
But they see what's happening on the left. You see that they're in MAGA mode, and they are all in on the mirror image of MAGA. That's what's going on there now. There are no more Democrats. There are no more Republicans. There's MAGA, and now you have whatever they call the new lefty MAGA. I don't know what it's going to be called.
Look, all I want is for every news agency to try to be
We need
fair
7
and
more
accurate in its
subscribers, guys, to
reporting.
hit
Is that too much to ask,
36K.
Cuomo?
7
No,
more,
it's
y'all.
just
Press
too
that
much. It's
subscribe
just
button.
too much to ask if they want to be successful, because there is very little percentage in fairness. People want fealty. They want outcomes. They want comfort. They want reassurance.
I'm sorry. I'm making millions of dollars, Cuomo. Being fair
I need
and
to
accurate.
be, man, that's dope.
That's what I'm selling.
Yeah, he say he making millions of dollars, man. I need to get there. I can't even make $2. I'm just saying, man, he making millions off his news reporting. I need to get up there to where they are, man, where they making millions of dollars for reporting the news. I can't get people to send me $2. I'm just saying.
Okay, so you're wrong, and I got the receipts.
You
to
see
prove it.
yourself as a fair broker.
People are hungry.
But they,
and I am.
But
and you're going to challenge that. You better have a backup.
No, because if I say it otherwise, it can't be true. I think that you have a tendency to defend the administration and conservatives and attack liberals and Democrats. I think that you do more of that
That's
than
your
you do
opinion,
of that.
but if you
it is.
watch, which you don't, every day, you would see that isn't true. I'm going after a Republican in charge of the ethics committee in the House now. I don't care about ideology. I don't care about party. It's the last thing on my mind. And as far as Trump is concerned, I'm fair to Trump. And I'm accurate about Trump. And I tell you what is going on.
I already
have
know,
not been
Pleasant.
wrong on this program.
Pleasant, I know I be doing a better job than half of the dudes that be reporting on the news. I need to be making millions of dollars too. I can't even get people to send me $3, $1.99. It's a struggle to get people to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, but they'll do it for everybody else. Shout out to Reload Key for that thumbs up. Most definitely appreciate it. But this is Chris Cuomo, Bill O'Reilly on their take on what's going on between Israel, Iran, and the U.S. and whether or not, we actually were able to destroy Iran's nuclear capabilities.
I've told you exactly what's going on.
Well, you didn't. You thought that he was going to be patient and wait on Iran, and then it happened the next day. So I mean,
we just hit 36K, guys. Shout out to everybody that subscribed, man. We just hit 36K on Everything News.
It was a timing issue.
But
it
doesn't matter if you're right or wrong
about that. But it wasn't a mistake about trying to make Trump look good. It was a timing issue. But anyway, look, what we are doing at News Nation is trying to do accurate reporting without this insane injection of partisan ideology. I think you would agree with that.
But that's all. I mean, you'll get fired otherwise. I mean, News Nation has a very specific code of conduct of what it wants to do, which I also think is emblematic of the difference between this and digital media, is that I have bosses who watch and listen, and if you don't do it the way they want it done, which is be fair to both sides when called for, you got a problem. Podcasts don't have that.
Look, you're fading out a little, so wake the audio guy up, jack his audio up.
Technical stuff is not our strong point
here.
here. We kind of just, we focus on the content, not the production.
the guy just woke up because I scolded him. If you're right about News Nation, and you are, then why they hire me if I'm such a partisan right-wing guy?
Balance.
Come on.
I like both of these guys when it come to reporting the news. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I think that Kumo most definitely try to keep it down the middle, and so does Bill O'Reilly, man. Shout out to both of them.
No balance. Then you'd have to have a kooky, the only left-wing zealot you have on a consistent basis is Carville. And it's okay with me, I don't care. But look, your producer wanted me to talk about Putin a little bit, because this is the next step in foreign policy, and I think it's important. So my book, Concerning Evil, comes out on September 9th. And I'm extraordinarily lucky because I have the Ayatollah and Putin on the cover, along with Mao and Hitler, and then we have 8 other villains inside the book. We researched Putin. We investigated Putin. Putin is a true psychopath.
I ain't gonna lie to you, Casey. I ain't really too much care for Glenn Beck. I ain't really watching that much.
He's a psychopath. But he's different than the Mullahs, and this is what people need to understand, because he's driving Trump crazy. Putin's driving Trump nuts. I don't know if President Trump understands what a psychopath this man is. And when you see how he was raised,
that's Trump
when you see where he came from and how he assembled power, there is no doubt of what I'm saying is accurate. So Putin, unlike the Mullahs, is not a coward. The Mullahs are cowards, okay? They pay people to kill babies and women.
Thank you.
That's what the Mullahs do. They're despicable cowards.
You say, I'm a girl. Let's go.
Putin isn't a coward, and you'll see that in the book. Putin is right in your face, and he is going to wreak as much destruction on the world as he can until somebody puts him in the grave. That's him. And Trump can't get through. Trump has offered him a really good deal, but Putin doesn't want the deal because Putin doesn't see that as helping his psychopathic yearnings. He wants to kill
vibe. We got it back
people.
On track.
All right?
I have to reset my router like 40 times.
You can't attack him because he has nukes. But you can strangle him economically, and I mean all the world banks. You don't do business with Moscow. Any bank that does, wiped off the face as far as sanctions are concerned. That's how you get him. And I had this conversation with Donald Trump. I said, you can sanction him all day long. He doesn't care about his people. If they're eating grass, he doesn't care, okay? But if you strangle, all right, the banks, and he can't get his oil money moved and he can't get anything in, he'll make the deal. And I stand by that.
No, I think that's a sound analysis if you can get the banks to go along with it. We'll see. I mean, if there's one thing that's held consistent is that people keep doing what they need to do for their own benefit, regardless of what it means geopolitically.
Trump is pretty damn powerful now. If you watch the NATO thing, he got all those NATO countries to kick 5% into defense when they were at 2%, except for Spain. And here's a little message for you, Spain. I'm not going there. I'm not going to Spain. I don't go to Mexico either, okay? And I'm eliminating all the Spanish-speaking countries, and I speak a little Spanish, un poco. Okay?
Un poquito
But
español.
Spain is obnoxious. You're obnoxious, Spain, all right? Pony up. We protected your butt for decades. We, America. Pony up. I know you don't care about Ukraine. I know you don't care about anything other than having dinner at 10 in the evening. I know that. But you better pony up.
Bill O'Reilly, thank you very much for making your witness. I appreciate you. Appreciate you. 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Those were the opinions of Bill O'Reilly. Yo te quiero, España. Yo te quiero. Today, Attorney General Pam Bondi issued a stern warning. I think that we have to start talking.
The sleeper cells, man, they most definitely here. I got some where I said 19 because that's what they reported at first, but it's actually 11. They arrested 11 Iranian nationalists, I think they called them as well, AKA, people from Iran that's over here that had plans to do stuff to Trump. We're going to check that out too before we get up out of here.
What is new? That it's not homegrown terror, meaning Islamists in our midst. It's young men primarily who are disaffected, pissed off about inequality, pissed off about their lot in the country, who he thinks. Today, AG Bondi was telling the Senate, sleeper cells from Iran, real deal.
Back to Iran, they have sleeper cells, we think, here.
We have thus far arrested 1,500 illegal Iranians in our country.
1,500 illegal Iranians, guys. That's crazy. Keep up the great work, brother. I already sold a man 10. Appreciate you, man. I'm going to most definitely try.
That is something that I would like to talk about in a classified setting. But yes, have they invaded our country? Absolutely.
I don't even know what that means.
She said we're under attack. We're under attack. They done invaded 1,500 of them. Kumo say, man, I don't even know what that means. Let's go.
Yes, have they invaded our country? Absolutely.
I don't even know what that means. Just because you're here illegally doesn't mean that you're a terrorist, okay? But I also think it's a distraction. I don't think the big enemy is what we remember after 9/11. I think we are in a different phase of extremism here, where we have rank and file Americans who are angry, disaffected, and susceptible to all the angry, extreme talk that's going on. And that's what we see in the recent spate of violence. They're not jihadis.
Ain't that what y'all call it, fear-mongering? Ain't that what y'all be saying? He basically saying that they're trying to put us in fear by saying that these people are here. Let's talk about it.
About Allah. They're yelling about wanting to destroy America, and they're American. Let's bring in former FBI and CIA counterterror official and expert, Mr. Phil Mudd. Good to see you, brother.
Thank you.
Who are you worried about and why?
I would worry about Islamic extremists, and I don't believe there are many, if any, Iranian sleeper cells here. I would worry about domestic political violence conducted by people who look like you and me. And as a practitioner, I can give you evidence why. Number one, there's 330 million Americans. How many of them are energized left and right by Democrats and Republicans by what they see happening in Congress versus how many might be energized by Iran? There's tens of millions of people in this country who are angry about politics. Number two, evidence. How many times do you see political acts in this country, acts of violence committed by Middle Easterners versus people who are angry at a governor, at a mayor, at the U.S. Congress? And number three, you mentioned something really important that we forget, and that is messaging. The messaging from the left and the right here is sometimes verging on violent. That gives younger people, especially who are emotional, an opportunity cover to say, I want to go and do something about it. I'd worry about Americans who look like you and me, who are energized by politics, Chris, and I think the evidence backs that up.
The suggestion that it's getting worse here at home, the evidence of the Republican Party yielding to MAGA, which is without question fringe in its rhetoric, if not in its deliverables. And now we see no more Democratic Party. They have their own mirror image of MAGA that embraces a lot of fundamentalism, or at least gives excuses for it. What does that mean in the picture?
This is huge. This is underreported, and if I were in your shoes, which I hope never to be, if I were in your shoes, I'd talk about it more. Let me tell you why from my old life. Do you hear much more about ISIS? Do you hear much more about Al-Qaeda? That is not just an operational result. That is partly because the messaging from places like Syria and Iraq from ISIS, the messaging from places like Afghanistan from Al-Qaeda doesn't exist. So a 17-year-old who wants to learn about ISIS or Al-Qaeda has to look on YouTube. If you want to see someone pushing, I wouldn't say violence, but getting pretty close to pushing to violence about right-wing and left-wing politics in this country, look to Congress. So people, messaging, I'm saying, is critical, whether it's the people I followed overseas, Islamic extremists, or whether it's extremists in this country. And the messaging in this country is far worse than it used to be, Chris.
I mean, look, what is the main target of both fringes now? Destroy the system. Destroy the elites, destroy the establishment. And it's not that far off from something way back in 1789 called the French Revolution. Kill the rich. We are not that far from that right now.
This crazy, y'all.
People in this country do not realize what we have because they don't travel, and let me be blunt and get rude, they don't have passports. If you travel in the world I lived in, which was mostly the Middle East, South Asia, and Southeast Asia, for 25 years, the line between autocracy, violence, and democracy is very thin. People here talk about the opposition party like they're the enemy because they don't recognize when you say they're the enemy, the Democrats are the enemy or the Republicans, there might be 0.1% of your followers who say, I'm going after the mayor, I'm going after the governor, I'm going after Congress. It's a numbers game in the world I lived in, and 0.1% of the American population, if they are radicalized toward violence, is a lot of people, Chris. You can't follow that many people with the FBI.
Phil Mudd, I appreciate you. Thank you for perspective. It is amazing. As well-traveled as you are still so profoundly unsophisticated. 4 minutes and 15 seconds. Up next, the people who matter most. You do. He's a friend of mine. I took him fishing. What's your question, David?
Hi, Mr. Cole.
All right, so then got to this question and answering segment. So we got a little bit from some very knowledgeable people on this situation. Chris Cuomo basically says, follow the facts when it comes to basically whether you feel like America actually was able to stop Iran from being able to produce a nuclear bomb, whether or not we actually took out their facilities. He says follows the facts, right? We've been hearing a lot about the fake news from the Pentagon as well as others, saying these false reports and this leaked information, that they basically said that, what was her name, Natasha, basically was pushing when it came to putting out this information. Basically, people just trying to discredit Trump, and they say that we overlooked the historic moment, trying to put down Trump, y'all. When it comes to these sleeper cells that are basically located in the United States, some people say that Trump and them are doing a bunch of fear-mongering, and basically trying to deceive the people. You heard Chris Cuomo say that basically just because Iranian people are here illegally does not make them the terror with the ist at the end, and that those are basically like things that people are putting out there to try to instill fear in the American people. Well, I got a report that I ran across. It was basically yesterday. I ran across it a little like at about 7, 8 o'clock, where they were saying that they caught 11 Iranian nationalists in the United States. Check this out. Hold on, let me pull it up real quick. Shout out to everybody in the building. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel, man. Most definitely double tap that screen if you're on the mobile device. It helps the channel.
Today,
Check
but
this
over
out.
the weekend, ICE agents saying they arrested 11 Iranian foreign nationals in 48 hours. That's according to the Department of Homeland Security.
11 in 48 hours,
in
guys.
Minneapolis, because one of those arrests was made there. Let's get the latest from them in this quick report.
The Department of Homeland Security says U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement arrested 11 Iranian nationals in a 48-hour targeted operation. The arrests spanned multiple states. Here's what we know about the man who was taken into custody in Minnesota. DHS officials say ICE arrested 56-year-old Iranian national Mehran Makari Saheli on Sunday in St. Paul. DHS says he's a former member of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and says he has, quote, admitted connections to Hezbollah, which are U.S. designated foreign terrorist organizations. According to court documents, Saheli was convicted of possessing a fraudulent immigration document in 2009. Then, stemming from that in 2020, court filings show he faced a federal charge for being a felon in possession of a firearm. DHS says he was later sentenced to 15 months in prison for the weapons charge. Federal officials say in June 2022, an immigration judge ordered Saheli be removed from the United States, but say he remained in the country illegally.
Okay, so as they mentioned, 11 total arrested. We've got pictures of 10 of them here via the New York Post standing by.
Yeah, 11 of them in 48 hours. That's all of them right there, guys. Wow. Do you think they was here to try to do something? I'm just saying. They most definitely reporting that they got 11 of them.
We want to welcome in Michael Balboni. He's a former New York Homeland Security advisor. I got to ask you, when we look
This is not basically, this basically coming from the news, but it also came from Trump now. They reported it to them, of how many of them they caught. That's why they reporting on it.
Pictures of these 10 people, Michael. Are these people affiliated with those so-called sleeper cells that we've been hearing so much about? Is this sleeper cell activity or not? What do we know?
What we know is that over the last couple of years, we've had almost over 10 million individuals come to this country, and we don't know who they are, where they are, what their intentions are. That's really what has changed the landscape of this nation's security. And we see
somebody said they don't look like us. It reminds me of They Not Like Us. They Not Like Us. Yeah, Kendrick Lamar.
it right now. This follows a traditional pattern that whenever there's conflict in the Middle East, it spans out to other parts of the world.
It's
and of course,
crazy,
with Iran
amazingly
having
beautiful.
been attacked by the United States to take out their nuclear facilities, this has ratcheted up the rhetoric at the very least. But we also know that there's really good intel that says there's a great capability in country right now. Should the either Iranian individuals or folks that want to do things on their own, rogue individuals, and certainly from a cybersecurity perspective, the security forces in the United States are really on high alert for a domestic incident.
Viewers often ask me about the threat of sleeper cells. Two things on that. What are they, is one, and secondly, is there any evidence of Iranian sleeper cells in the U.S.? Hard evidence?
So typically, if you take a look at throughout the years from an intelligence perspective, during the Cold War, was when the country was first introduced to the concept of a sleeper cell. That was people who were trained in the ways and customs of the United States. They were sent in to create false identities and families, and then hide amongst us, and then get a note that says, "Okay, time to go." And then they would either create havoc or they would try to get documents, secrets. That has now.
So for all of y'all who don't know what a sleeper cell is, he basically just explained it. They were sent here, basically to live life until they get that message that say, we want you to do this, 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 and this, and then they would basically take action, for whatever country they were working for. So that's basically what a sleeper cell is.
Now changed in the sense that there's an affiliation with the sponsoring agency, or in this case, Iran, where people come into the country. They go to areas where there's a lot of other Arab, in an Arab community, where they kind of go to ground and mix in. And this is, when you listen to what President Trump has been talking about, he's been using ICE to target not just folks that were here illegally, but folks that are members of gangs, have committed crimes, and pose a security risk. And so this is something that the White House has been very focused on, though a lot of people are not saying that he should get credit for doing this. But again, think of 10 million people coming to this country. It's a huge security risk.
You've already touched on this, but I'm hoping you can expand. What are the challenges associated with tracking down, finding even sleeper cells? How do you A, find it, B, how do you track the activity?
Typically what happens is that there's surveillance on individuals.
Yeah, we heard her say that earlier. Mo says it's thousands of them here. They've been here for over 35 years. I believe it.
There are folks within a group that, the undercover agents, you turn somebody in a group, you get intelligence from them. These are the typical police and security operations that are done to try to infiltrate, find out what's going on in the group. Obviously, surveillance, wiretaps, again, traditional ways of law enforcement to try to find out whether or not people are committing or planning to commit some kind of crime. Those are the same techniques that are used when you are trying to identify folks who might be a part of an agent or agency that's trying to do something in country. It's always very difficult, again, because we don't know how people came in. It's not like there's a date that that they were in this port of call for the United States, port of entry, and that you can track them from where they went. And if they go to a place like Minnesota, where there's a very large Arab population, there might be an opportunity for them to really go to ground and not be discovered. And so it makes it very, very difficult for not only ICE, but for the FBI. And there's a recent report that says, the FBI is really focusing now, shifting away from just simply going after
Our 7-Elevens ain't all they got, Mo say all the 7-Elevens they have. Pay attention, people. Yeah, but that ain't all they got. Understand, too, they really be owning all of the hotels and motels, in some places as well, y'all. So with them owning like those 7-Elevens, that's plenty of food. And with them having motels and hotels, that's plenty of places for their people to sleep. Understand that as well. Yeah, I've been paying attention to that for a while, Mo. Real talk. Yeah, the gas stations too. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, man. So if they wanted to try something, they most definitely got the means to be able to do it. And places to sleep and food to eat. I'm just saying.
Immigrants who are here illegally to folks that may cause a terrorist threat.
One more thing before we go. What do we know about the quantity of Iranians that enter illegally that are not affiliated with any regime-backed group? No doubt there's people like that enter as well.
Sure. It's very important to not think that everybody who came across the border is a terrorist. That's not the case. But I think more important, though, than that is what are the capabilities? What's the training? What's the tradecraft? Like, if I'm an intelligence agency that's an enemy of the United States, and I see the fact that there's kind of an open border, I'm definitely going to send in assets. And for nothing else, just to surveil, to find out information, and be able to give that back to the folks that want to know what's going on in the United States and possibly exploit vulnerabilities. So that's really the challenge for all security and law enforcement agencies in the United States right now.
Michael Bell.
All right, so that's basically all we got right now. When it comes to this situation, I just wanted to bring y'all that information from the Pentagon as well as from the White House. I'm sorry about my Wi-Fi acting up, man. I don't know what went on. I had to restart my router like 30 times. Had me very frustrated, but I most definitely appreciate the people that stuck around. So we heard from the Iranian supreme leader who said that America basically didn't do anything to their nuclear sites. They didn't even hit them. Basically they didn't set them back at all. And then we heard from the Pentagon that said, hey, man, we most definitely set them back. Here go a video of what the missiles did, in this AI depiction of what went on over there. You had them talking about the fake news, the leak information that was leaked that wasn't all the way complete. They just took what they wanted and made it to try to make Trump look bad. And in doing that, they made the American people look over a historic event, guys, with Trump basically going over there and doing what we did to Iran. Yeah, man, it's very crazy. But remember what Kumo said, man, when it comes down to really wanting to know what took place over there, you got to go with the facts. So don't jump the gun. Wait till they put out all the facts and then base your opinion from that. Well, that's all I got right now. I'll be back around 4 o'clock when Trump does this speech that he's going to do today from the White House. I'm guessing we'll most definitely be in the building to see exactly what's said. I hope you enjoyed your time over here. Shout out to anybody that sent a gift or sent a super chat or a super sticker, or even if you asked for my Cash App and sent me a Cash App. Thank you. I appreciate you all. Shout out to the new subscribers as well as the old subscribers. We most definitely hit 36K today. Shout out to all my members yeah, man, shout out to my members and my moderators. Most definitely know that I ain't nothing without y'all. I appreciate everybody who pulls up to me on a day-to-day basis to see the information that I have to put forth. I'm most definitely not a biased channel. I know I don't pick no sides in anything. I present both sides if I'm able to give you a better perspective of exactly what it is that's going on, man. So I'll see y'all in about 3 hours. Y'all be safe out there, man. Watch the insurgents. You know what I'm saying? Watch the what they call them, the sleeper cells, man, because according to the people, they are most definitely out there. Y'all be safe, man. And with that being said, y'all know how this go. I'm most definitely finna make my grand exit. And with that being said, Sidewalk Gang, checking out. I'll catch y'all on the next one, man. I enjoyed y'all. I'm gone.